to me.
Fine, I'll get this. Okay, so audio's going. We're good. All right.
Yeah.
Start us off, my guy.
I'll start you off by handing you this cracked open beer.
Nice.
Because I'm a good friend and a good godfather.
Oh shit! Yeah, I guess that's a revelation to the YouTube channel. I'm having a child.
Yes, Jeremy and his wife Shay. They are in the process of
My hair's already fucked up. It's fantastic. Here, let me make sure. Let me check our shit real quick.
Yeah. Anyone who's watching this, as you can tell, energies are pretty high.
Yes.
Because, Jeremy's becoming a father. I'm becoming a godfather.
Yeah.
Because, I was already the best man. I might as well be everything else.
Might as well, It's very big dick energy.
It's very big dick energy. Curtis must be pissed.
No, I'm sure Curtis is okay. I mean, he's fantastic.
Yeah.
Man, but let's see. So today we are talking about again fucking Pirates of the Caribbean. I still haven't released the last Pirates video. So in case y'all guys are curious about why that is, the main reason being is because my internet is dog shit. So to upload a video the size of, I think, 3 hours it was that we did with
it's because we had fucking Jace on the show, and that extended our time by, like, a whole hour.
It made it super long, and the last time I tried to upload it, it failed, but it took fucking, like, oh god, what was it? It was, like, 3 days, and it didn't fully upload. It was a ridiculous amount of time, So, oh god, I'm trying to remember where we left off. I feel bad. I'm sure we still had like some time left. Oh yeah, I think it was.
Hold on. They already made it to the ship. The skeleton crew. They were already made it to the ship. They were slicing people up, assassinating people.
Right. Okay, so I think we're good there. So let me pull that up. Alrighty. So let me pull up the window capture yet again. Okay, that's there. All right, so good. We're ready to rumble. Let me just get us in the right spot. Oh yeah. The whole touch, and then the attack happens, right?
Yeah.
And then we get to here. So I want to pick up right here. We still have. I think this is pretty close.
Yeah.
To where we left off, which was essentially the pirates are now just full on attacking the ship.
Mm-hmm.
And they ring a bell to announce to let Norrington and the rest of the team know that, hey, we're getting shellacked over here. We're really getting our crap kicked out of us. Let me turn that down a little bit. So we're really getting the crap kicked out of us. We're dying over here. And then even the governor, is opening up the door, and he's like, oh, these are dead people in front of the on the boat. This is fucked. And this is by the way, this should be hopefully the finale for our Pirates of the Caribbean series, which, by the way, what a series.
Oh, yeah.
This has been very fun. I've really enjoyed
it's like, what, episode 6?
Yeah. 5 or 6.
5 or 6. I feel like it's 6. But, yeah,
I think you're right. I think it's 6. I think this is 6.
It's like, this is like a 2-hour long movie, which is not, like, incredible for a movie. It's, like, pretty average.
Yeah.
But you consider, like, how much Jeremy loves this movie and how much I like to dissect, like, certain things.
And we're on episode 6, each episode being nearly 2.5 hours.
Mm-hmm. There's that much content to milk out of this 20-year-old movie.
Yeah, but I mean, it goes to show when there's a movie that is decent, that is actually really good, there's a lot of things that you can pull from it. It enhances your viewing of the cinema. Whenever they're your average movie goers. They're like, oh yeah, I'll watch this movie. They watch it and then they're done. The only thing they can really explain on it is like, oh, I thought this scene was good, or I like this scene. But when me and you, who have like more cinematic eyes, look at something, we're like, no, there's something more deeper that's going on here.
Yeah.
This calls to something else. There's a lot of interesting things that are happening in this movie that we need to talk about. I mean, the Vader scene versus Luke Skywalker in Empire Strikes Back. We could talk about that for hours. And all the implications that come from it. And And that's something I think is really cool, and not just with the set design, but with like character motivations and character traits and this and that and so on and so forth. There's a lot you can dive into with these scenes. Whether or not we've given this a fair shake-up, I think we've done an interesting job. I think we've done some good stuff. I don't think we've necessarily covered everything, but it's very hard to cover everything. Every nook and cranny of a movie, you know. It's hard to find all of the interesting details.
Yeah, this could have been easily 8 episodes if we really tried.
Oh, even more than that. It could honestly go to almost an infinitesimal summation, you know. But with that, we will digress and hopefully round out this movie, because I think in all honesty, it's probably 10-minute credits, so we probably got 20 minutes left to cover.
Yeah.
In this finale. So, let me do one thing real quick. Let me switch this to MG so that way we can hear it. And I want to drop it down some. There we go. Let's try that. So, pirates are basically just going ham, and the governor is like, "This is a bad situation to be a part of."
Oh no. Oh dear.
And when I really like the kind of character, not character arc he goes on, but it's really interesting. So we cut then to Jack, who is looking at all of the interesting things that they have gathered along their 10-year.
He was looking at that statue like, can I fuck it?
You could almost say their 10-year tenor, or tenure, I should say. As pirates, they've amassed quite the gold, considering no one can fucking kill them.
Well, yeah, that's honestly like the greatest retirement ever. It's just like, let's just be immortal for like 10 years, steal all the shit that we want, so that when we break this curse and become like, you know, mortal again, we can actually live the rest of our lives enjoying this.
Right. Which is smart, definitely, from a pirate's perspective. They're like, it's kind of like the not Hornigold, Bartholomew Roberts. I believe he was known as the wealthiest pirate in all the lands, and he basically built up a wealth enough to retire, but unfortunately, as pirates go, they just have the itch. No, actually, that was Blackbeard that had the itch. So Blackbeard retired for some time, but he just had the itch to go back into the seas and continue pirating, and that ended up leading to his doom, where he was captured and then hung.
Well, that's just the outlaw life. It's like, it's addictive.
Yeah, exactly. You know.
No, the lucky few are able to get out of that lifestyle, and just like, they're so successful at it and so good at it that they are able to leave. The people that are like good to average to even bad, they die with that career on their backs.
Right. Exactly. You know, it's something. It's if you choose that kind of life, the outlaw life, that is how you die. That is a sentence almost. You know.
Yeah.
It's close to that level of intensity. It's like you choose this life. This life has a path. You know. So if you walk down it, it has an end road, and you'll eventually meet it. You know, you can't veer once you start down that path. Just like fucking Yoda said, he's like, once you start down the dark path, forever will it dominate your destiny. You know, that whole shit.
Yeah.
Let's see. So Barbossa is like, I must admit, Jack, I thought I had you figured, but it turns out you're a hard man to predict. Which is very true. Jack Sparrow is an incredibly hard man to predict as far as what he's going to do. Jack Sparrow is a very complicated individual, as we've learned. He's very goal-oriented, but it's how he reaches his goal that creates all of his complications. It's like,
there's something about this man that very few people have. It's called grit.
Grit. This man has definite grit. He will go through leaps and bounds to achieve his goals. I also like that.
There are two types of men in this world: men who have grit and men who have a sense of propriety.
Yeah. I do like this little skeleton, by the way. It's got the crown on his head.
Skull on the crown.
Yeah, he's got a little crown on his head. He was royalty
at one point.
And again, Jack being Jack waits for the opportune moment. So right now, the group is gone. They are now attacking Norrington's ship, alerting the Navy.
Yeah.
Jack's like, I'm just sitting here with a couple of homies. You know, albeit they can't die, but neither can I. And so this seems like a good opportunity as any.
Mm-hmm.
And so Barbossa's like, you know, I thought I had you figured out, but it turns out I was wrong. And Jack's like, yeah, no shits, because it's me. Because he's a narcissist. And so Jack says, me, I'm dishonest, which is ironic because he's been entirely honest throughout the entirety of this show or the movie for the most part.
It's like having the reputation of a liar, even though you only tell the truth. It's like,
Yes.
I will tell the truth, but you will never believe the truth, so therefore it becomes a lie, and I am the greatest liar of all.
Literally in the beginning, it's a perfect setup. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
when he's like, you know, I said no lies, and the guy's like, he's like, what if he's telling the truth? He's like, if he was telling the truth, he wouldn't have told us. And then Jack goes, of course, unless you wouldn't believe the truth, even if he told it to you.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole thing. It's like Jack being dishonest. Honestly, this is probably one of the few lies he's told in this movie is that he is a dishonest person.
It's like, it's not this movie, I think, but it's another movie where he's like, you actually were telling the truth. And Jack's like, I do that quite a lot, yet people are always surprised.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, I tell the truth. I am an honest person. Y'all guys just don't understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Y'all guys always assume I have some other intent in what I'm saying. And this he kind of plays into. He's like me, I'm dishonest. He's like, and a dishonest man you can trust to be dishonest, which is a very fair statement. See, this is another one of those word plays that they use in later films that doesn't work like it does in this movie.
Yeah.
Because in this movie they make sense. See, the trick with Jack Sparrow's language, I guess you could say, is the way he speaks is he repeats words in almost, it sounds like he's talking in a circle, right?
Yeah.
I guess you could, it's a weird representation, but you could say he's talking in a circle.
He speaks in riddles.
Yeah, he speaks in riddles. So it sounds like he's looping back over to the same words. He's like, me, I'm dishonest. And a dishonest man you can trust to be dishonest, right? So it keeps looping back around to the same word. And then he plays off of that. It's really cool because in this movie, the sentences make sense. He's like, you can, it's cool because like he's saying you can trust a dishonest man.
Yeah.
To be dishonest. It's really, it's cool because, you know, normally it's like, well, why would you trust a dishonest man? It's like, well, because you can trust him to not be honest.
Yeah.
You know, so it's this whole loop. It's this interesting loop. With the later movies, I feel like it kind of dies a little where it sounds more goofy, makes less sense, isn't necessarily as intelligent as it is in this movie.
Yeah.
This movie, the wordplay is brilliant in the way that they line up Jack's sentences. Because it almost sounds like he's thought about this for a long time.
It's almost like, it feels like they didn't expect, because this movie is based off of like a Disneyland ride.
Yes, a ride that has nothing to do with this sort of shit.
They never would have predicted how popular or like monumental this movie would have been.
Right.
So I think they just put all of their eggs into one basket, put all of their energy into this one movie with no intention of it going any further than this movie.
Yes. And honestly, with some of the movies that came out afterwards, it really shouldn't have. I think I really love this first movie, and every movie that came after just tries to be this movie, and it never hits the nail on the head.
Yeah.
There are interesting points and plot and ideas in each movie that I find interesting for the most part. But this one just hits every nail on the head constantly. Is just nailing it. Like it's fantastic.
I mean, I like that each movie reveals a little bit more about Jack's origins and how he grows to be a person.
True.
But it's like, if they made another movie, Johnny Depp would be in his fucking like 50s.
Yes.
Like late 50s, mid to late 50s.
Yes.
So it's like, it's kind of hard to think of Jack as like an old guy.
As a 50-year-old man.
So if they ever did...
Unlike Harrison Ford and Indiana Jones.
Oh, God, yeah.
I think he said that this is the last movie he's going to play Indian, and I'm like, thank Christ. Please stop.
This should have been the last movie you play at all.
Yes. Retire, for the love of God.
But I think Harrison Ford is picking up like a role in the new series Yellowstone.
Stop! No.
I think he's just an old dude.
Yeah, He's just like, hey, I'm a popular face. You could always just hire me to stand there and look handsome. Because even in his 80s, he still has a good face.
I mean, he's a good looking 80-year-old. I'll give him that.
Yes.
But, what was my point? I don't think I had one.
Anyway, he's going to be in Yellowstone. I think he's in a show right now called 1923, something like that. I think he's in a spinoff of Yellowstone.
Could be, but
where he plays an old man.
What the fuck else could he possibly play other than
a young strapping lad?
Yeah, if with enough CGI and baby oil, anything's possible.
Oh god. I want to think about it. Anyway, with Jack Sparrow, he's like, we've gone 20 seconds. It's fantastic. He says, and a dishonest man you can trust to be dishonest, right? He's like, honestly, which is great. He's like, it's a dishonest man you can trust to be dishonest. Honestly, it's so interesting, like the way he plays those words, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think the writers did a fantastic job with this movie. He goes, honestly, it's the honest ones you want to watch out for, and then it kind of dies off as far as wordplay goes. I feel like they wrote themselves into a corner in this one. He's like, because he goes, because you can never predict when they're going to do something incredibly stupid. And he looks at Will, which is good. It kind of ends the whole. He's
got that wide-eye expression of like, you hear me, son?
Yeah,
you get what I'm saying?
Do you see? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Right. Let's back it up real quick. Which, by the way, this pirate has 2 swords and it's incredibly convenient. So yeah, he looks over at Will when he's doing this.
That dude's just skipping stones.
He's skipping stones. I mean, what the fuck else is he gonna do? You know. Honestly, props to this guy. He's I'm sure he's skipping the best of stones. The absolute best. I'm skipping frankly, these stones, the best stones. I didn't say it, people tell me.
He's found like the flattest, smoothest rocks possible, and he's just like,
it's obsidian. It's fucking obsidian.
Yeah, it's like 7 skips across the pond. You're just like, nice, man.
Nice. So he looks at Will, he's like, you never know whenever he's going to do something incredibly stupid. Which is funny, because he's about to do that, which proves that he is an honest person. Which is a lie from him saying that he was dishonest. Because in all honesty, funny enough, he is an honest person, Jack Sparrow. He is usually pretty upfront.
It's very paradoxical.
It's very paradoxical.
The only time that he is dishonest is when he says that he is dishonest.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, he's never once told a lie.
Basically. And then he looks at Will, and this is also a callback to when he looks at him earlier on. He's like, please, stay here and don't do anything stupid. Right? That's the idea. He's like, don't do anything stupid because you're going to cause problems. And Jack is looking at Will, and he's like, I'm about to cause problems. Be on the lookout. You know? And so Will is like, yes, this is the opportune moment, as we were talking about in the previous episode. And so he pulls the sword out from this guy, kicks him, guy falls into the water. Not the best kick, I'll be honest. It was kind of it was an acting kick, not the best, but you know it happens in movies, you know. So I'll dock some points for that, but still. Is it believable? Yeah, sure. A guy's gonna have 2 swords. He's always gonna have some sort of backup if he can salvage one. Yeah. If I was a pirate and I had 1 sword and I killed a guy and he had a sword, I'm like, well, I'm fucking taking this too somehow. Yeah. So it's not over the purview. I just think that the kick isn't great. It's kind of a light tap, but it's livable. In all honesty, it's great.
Honestly, he was leaning forward, so it's not like he had to kick the shit out of him.
Yeah, he just kind of, just takes it, bump, kicks him over. And then he tosses the sword to Will. This guy's over here like, what?
The fuck's going on?
Yeah, he's just...
Things are happening too fast for him to react.
Yeah, he's just kind of chilling there. He's like, what the fuck is happening?
He looks like Xerxes from 300.
He actually does.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it.
That
Wow.
could be the same guy.
Could be. You never know. Turned pirate. So he takes the sword, and then that guy immediately reacts. Will bumps him, shoulder checks him. Guy fails his dex save.
Sucks to his cock.
Yep. And then boom, we begin. And then Barbossa's like, oh, we're fighting now.
Oh.
This is a fight. Okay, let's get up and let's do our thing. Because he obviously isn't too surprised by Jack. He's like, oh, of course he betrayed me. All right, I guess we're doing this now. And then boom. So he's more surprised than anything. And he's just like, oh, I guess we're fighting now. Okay, I'm gonna be on defense. And Will is trying to just survive. So Clang, that is a bit contrived. That is pretty.
Where he perfectly cut his ropes.
Didn't slice his wrist at all. Very, very convenient.
I would have loved it if he sliced his ropes but took like Will's thumb. It's like
just freaking just slices ropes, but at the same time he holds his wrist up and it's just blood coming down here. He's like
just passes out on the ground.
Yeah, dies just immediately.
Hilarious. Gets an infection. Has to amputate his arm.
Imagine being in that situation. It's like, oh yes, I'm going to move my wrists and hands closer to this blade that he's trying to chop down to cut the ropes. It's like, good fucking luck.
Yeah.
That's got to be at least an 18 dex save.
That's movie magic right there.
Yeah, that is movie magic.
In real life, that practice would go way off kilter.
There's no way that fucking would happen, honestly. Let's be real.
9 times out of 10, you would either slice too far and hit them in the spine, or slice their wrist or thumb off.
Even if he magically threaded the needle and hit the rope, that is not enough to cut a rope that thick. I don't think. I don't think it's enough to cut a rope like that.
It would take at least a few swipes.
It would have to take a full swing, hitting on on the middle part of the blade, not the tip of the blade, the middle of the blade, right? Mm-hmm. To slice through all of that.
Yeah.
Because that tip of the blade, you're only cutting a little bit of it. It's just a jab, right?
Because it's not like he swiped the ropes and then Will like just sort of like they were weak enough for him to pull up. Yeah. They completely sliced straight through.
Definitely movie magic. Not gonna happen. So it gets points docked for that. You know, this movie isn't perfect. Not perfect, but it has a lot of good character writing and a lot of good writing. That's usually what I reference whenever I like this. Talk about what I like about this movie. Not that Will, cuts fucking rope from another guy. It's happened in other movies. I usually don't like it whenever they do that because I think it's very convenient and it's like, oh yeah, it's just movie magic. But it's fine, I guess. It'll live. So they begin doing their fight, haba baloo, la di da, combat sequence. Jack cuts the hat that Barbossa so much likes, and so they're going after it. Will's fighting three people at once, actually. And I like this, like the music, dies down and he sees them as the ghost and he's like, fuck it, boom, boom, and just punches him in the face. As a skeleton, the guy lets off a yelp that I always thought was funny as a kid, because like, boom, boom, and he's like, ah! It's funny, like, he's like, ow!
Like a Wilhelm scream.
Yeah, it feels kind of like that. And they're going after it, going hog wild as far as swords go. And Barbossa, he just goes all in on the crazy and on the
look at his yellow eyes.
Yes. Like seriously though, like talk about color.
Yeah.
That like color correction or whatever they did with his eyes
I think they just put contacts in.
It's fucking awesome though. Who would think of that? Give him yellow eyes.
Because I think that's a sign of some kind of disease.
Yeah.
Maybe scurvy. Or jaundice or something. I know jaundice is yellow skin.
Yeah, yellow skin.
I don't know if it yellows the eyes too.
Yeah, maybe. I don't think so. Still though, it's cool. It's off-white. Right? It's supposed to look white, but it's not.
Yeah. It's like an eggshell.
Yeah, yeah.
It's an off-white.
Like a cream color. He looks at him and he says, you're off the edge of the map, mate, which is awesome because obviously, he's a flat earther. I'm kidding.
That's what time was the height of the Caribbean like piracy? It was like 18 something?
No, it was like 17, no, 1800s was the time of the Wild West. 1730s, 1720s is going to be like the height of the piracy era.
So people fully knew that the earth was round at this point.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
I would reckon so. But this is more of a metaphor on, of course, maps that pirates follow. It's like you're off the edge of the, and it's not even necessarily flat Earth. It's like you're on unmarched territory.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, you know. He's like you're off the edges of the map. Not necessarily that you're sailing down. This isn't future Pirates movies, okay? They're not flat earthers like they are in the Pirates movies. Because I can't remember which one it is, but later on in one of the sequels, they literally sail to the end of the earth and go straight down into Davy Jones. Fuck all.
It was hilariously goofy.
It was very goofy.
It's like, okay, so in this universe, the earth is literally flat.
Yes. In this, it can be just insinuated as at the edge of the map. You're now in unmarked territory.
Yeah.
And then I like the line that they oh fuck, I pressed the wrong button. I went to click the play button and it didn't work. Oh shit. I went
That's how you know that humanity is going to fail as a species.
Oh yeah.
Is that people in 2023 now, I think that's the year that it is now.
Yeah.
But like even like 5 years ago, like 2018, people thought like, you know what? I think the government is lying to us for no reason and they have no benefit to gain from this, but they're lying. The earth is flat. And I'm just like, you are really trying just fucking anything to feel special, aren't you?
You know the best thing is watching them do sort of scientific tests and like, well, if we do this, that'll prove that the earth is flat. However, if it does this other thing, that would prove that the earth is round, and then it proves the earth is round, and they just don't know how to handle that fact. Like, yeah, that's it's kind of weird that it did the whole like thing
it's almost as if they like are so convinced of their own idea that they're not open to like changing it.
They're so great at discovering ways to prove that the earth is round.
Wow. Who would have thought a fact that was literally discovered like 600 years ago? Even longer probably.
I love it because there was this guy, I can't remember the what it was on, but it was this guy and he was like, if I put these planks, this hole, right?
Yeah.
All the way across from you know, each plank of wood some distance apart. If I put I think he had like 2 holes. He's like, if I put it at the top hole and it goes all the way across, that proves that the earth is flat because it's going across this distance, right? So it's straight.
Yeah.
So no curvature. He's like, if it ends up in this hole, you know, the lower hole, then that proves that the fucking earth is round because it's curving downwards. So he sits, he looks at his friend and he's like, you'll be able to see the light coming all the way across. And so he puts the camera up and it's like, all right, put it in the hole. No light.
No.
And he's like, put it in the one lower. And he does, and he sees the light through and he's like, that's kind of weird. It's like, no, that just means the fucking earth is round, you dumbass.
It's like, okay, if the earth wasn't round, then explain like the fucking, I don't know what it's called, but there's a name for it. But it's like that phenomenon where snipers have
Coriolis effect?
Coriolis effect, thank you so much.
Got you.
Where snipers have to like consider the rotation of the earth if they're trying to shoot at someone at a very long distance. Because I think it's like, once you go past like a kilometer, that's when you have to consider the Coriolis effect.
It's fucking dope, is what it is. Let me make sure I'm pronouncing that right.
Because that's the thing, is like the Earth.
Yeah. Coriolis effect.
That's the thing, is like the Earth in diameter is like 24,000 kilometers. So that means that the Earth rotates 1,000 kilometers a fucking hour. Which is really fast, but we, of course, don't experience that kind of speed because we're moving with it.
Right.
As far as we're concerned, we're just kind of standing still because we're moving at that same speed.
Mm.
The Coriolis effect.
It says an effect whereby a mass moving in a rotating system experiences a force, the Coriolis force, acting perpendicular to the direction of the motion of the axis in rotation. On the Earth, the effect tends to deflect moving objects to the right in the northern hemisphere and to the left in the southern, and is important in the formation of cyclonic weather systems.
Okay, so yeah,
Here, actually, this is a good visual. This right here.
Let's assume
That's a good visual.
if you're like me and Jeremy, you live in the northern hemisphere in America.
Mm.
So when the Coriolis effect is
Let's go.
Yeah, when the Coriolis effect is in effect, when you shoot a bullet out of a sniper rifle, it's going to veer ever so slightly to the right because the rotation of the Earth is moving those objects.
Yep. Which is fucking awesome, by the way.
So fucking cool.
It's so cool. I'm sorry.
So it's
we're nerding out over the Coriolis effect, but it's so cool.
It's so dope. It's like, yes, I fucking love that the fact that like snipers, when they shoot at a certain distance, they have to consider that psych.
Yeah.
I know this was originally a discussion about flat earthers. Guys, you're not fucking special. Get a personality. Fuck off.
Oh man.
If there are any flat earthers who are watching this episode, don't subscribe. We don't want you here.
Hashtag sponsored, not sponsored by Coors Light.
Oh yeah, by the way, I don't know if the CEO of Coors Light is a flat earther. Send us money.
Send us money.
Send us money, yeah.
Let's see. So yeah, he's like, "You're off the edge of the map, mate. Here there be monsters," which I always thought was cool because he's saying, you know, you've strayed too far off the path. Here there are monsters, and I always thought that was kind of creepy and cool. It plays into his character.
I'm sure that's like a mythological kind of thing where it's like if
go far enough off the map, there are monsters. You're gonna just
see like monsters everywhere.
Yeah, and it works for him too because he's technically a monster. He is an undead being.
Sure. Why not? Yeah, he's more monster than man at this point.
And it plays up, you know, it's like, you know, so it's like, oh, scary.
Yeah. Legend of Zelda sounds.
Yeah, no shit. So Elizabeth finally shows up at the Black Pearl, which it looks like it's anchored and it's just chilling there.
Mm-hmm.
And she shows up and she's like, time to do some shit. And I like these two pirates, too, by the way. He's like, what would you like to eat first? And he's like, we should decide now so we're ready when the time comes. And they have, like, a little fire going. They have some wine, some rum.
They're on a date.
They're on a, let's be honest, they're kind of on a date. Like, they got what is this, a rack of lamb going on? Like, they got some good shit.
That looks like a rack of ribs of some kind.
Yeah.
Definitely some sherry or rum, like, actual like
honestly sherry and rum.
Let's
be honest.
What looks like fresh fruit in the back because I'm only seeing like what is that, like red something.
Yeah, there's something red back here. We got the sherry, we got some rum, we got the rack of lamb.
It's a nice spread between two loving partners.
Honestly, and they're discussing about what they're gonna eat, which honestly, if you hadn't eaten anything delicious in 10 years, you would probably be debating that too.
You'd be very particular about what you want your first meal to be.
Yeah.
It's sort of like the last
yeah.
You know, the last meal on death row, but this is their first meal.
This is their first meal. Yeah, off of death row.
Mm-hmm.
You know, look at it that way. And then it looks like they even have some berries or grapes down here. I don't think it's grapes, but it's some sort of berry.
Something.
It's
could just be blueberries.
It's cool. It's nice to think about. Like, they're all kind of chefs because they're like, well, you know, it's interesting because as for people who can't eat anything tasty, they've obsessed over tasty foods to make up for it, I guess.
I was like, as soon as I break this curse, I'm gonna eat so much pussy.
Well, I think that plays into fucking Barbosa, where he's like, you know what I want to do when when the curse is broken for me? Eat a whole bushel of apples. It's like, yeah, I kind of know what he's thinking.
Yeah.
It's fucking fantastic.
Sick fuck.
So she checks. She's like, no one's up on top of the deck. let's get up and climb up a boo. And she's going to try and free the Black Pearl from the prisoners that lay below deck. And so it's the monkey jump scare from before it scared her. She was like, oh my god, undead monkey. She looks at it and she still has a little bit of worry in her face, but then, boom, she's like, no, you're just a fucking monkey.
It's like, yeah, you're a zombie, but at the end of the day, you're still just a monkey.
And so the monkey's like, why aren't you scared? And then look, they have a fucking cake.
They have fucking wedding cake.
They have a wedding cake. They have fruits. They have a fucking turkey. A whole ass turkey.
They are so ready to get down on this meal. Jeremy, is it too late to order dessert at this hour?
Honestly, I'm debating it.
I want us to be like these two right here. Just two bros dining over a meal.
Two bros dining over wedding cake, a full turkey, full set of like fruit salad over here.
Yeah.
Rack of lamb, just all of the goodies. You know they're putting all the spices on there.
It's been 10 years.
God. They're enjoying every fucking bite of that shit.
Oh my god, can you imagine not tasting birthday cake for 10 years and then suddenly it's just right in front of you? You're just like, oh my god.
It's so much.
Hey, baby, remember me from last night?
And then boom. So the monkey collapses onto the cannon, looks up, and they're like, what the fuck was that sound? They look over, see the monkey, and the monkey just kind of slides off. Not the best scene, but you know, it's kind of funny.
It says something.
It's like it's the classic cartoon like bonk. Oh, you know, like stars flying around the head as they doze off. Monkey falls into the water. They immediately look up and they're like, "Oh my god, there was somebody up there that did some shit." And so she runs down, hides, right? And they run up there. Well, this dude has a fucking giant ass mallet, by the way. This mallet, that thing is huge.
Yeah, that's called a maul. That's basically a giant hammer made out of like wood or something. Yeah,
and the other guy comes up with a fucking like fish hook out of a horror movie. You know, and Elizabeth's like, yes, they've run up to the top deck. They come down and then fucking pirate version of Alex Jones is like, shush, someone's coming. It's like, well, I tell you, it's Elizabeth. I tell you, it's Elizabeth Swan.
It's bad luck to have a woman on board.
Yeah, I know I said it was bad luck to have a woman on board, but I'd say that she's an exception. She's exceptionally female.
More man than woman.
More man than woman. I fucking love Alex Jones being Mr. Gibbs. It's one of my favorite
memes.
It's my favorite meme that we've done. I love it.
Yeah.
Immediately, they're like, "It's Elizabeth," and then it harsh cuts to the battle that's being done on the deck of what I want to call the Norrington, even though it's not called the Norrington. But basically the boat of the Navy. And they're duking it out. This dude's getting punched by this pirate and then stabbed. So they're not doing so hot. The Trojans, I guess, are now boarding the ship as well.
Mm-hmm.
Pushing in the cannon. They're going at it. And this dude finally rings the bell. Saying like, oh. And Norrington's like, oh shit. Our ship is being attacked by fucking zombies.
And this is the Duchess.
Yes, this is the Duchess. As far as I'm aware. And this is kind of the big climactic battle that is happening aboard the Duchess, which is something that I really appreciate about this movie.
Or Dauntless?
Dauntless, that's it. The Dauntless, that calls back to the beginning of the movie. The Dauntless is the power in these waters, true enough, I think is the line. But there's no match. What is it? Fuck it, I'll fucking...
The Interceptor is the fastest. The Dauntless is like the most powerful and has the most fire.
I will fucking bring it up. I don't give a shit.
Really? All the way back to minute 11:47.
All the way back to 10 minutes in this fucking movie.
Wow. That's commitment, fellas.
Commitment. We're doing it.
I'm just petting a cat.
Just see, to marry yourself as an invitation. You know, we have to make sure the duck stays off limits to anyone. He's like, find gold to be sure. Blah blah blah. Seems to me that a ship like that seems makes this one bit superfluous, right? So calling back, the Dauntless is the power in these waters, true enough. So it's obviously the Dauntless is the big ship. It's the big.
It's got all the.
It's got the
firepower,
big balls. It's the big
It's
cojones.
the big dick energy. It's got that sense of propriety, baby.
Yes, but no ship is matched for the Interceptor for speed.
Mm-hmm.
So that is how we know one thing from another. So we're gonna wind it all the way back. I think it was 52. No, it was past that. All right. So we're gonna back ourselves fucking up over here. All right. So yeah, they ring the bell. So yeah, obviously they're on the Dauntless, and what I was getting at was that the thing that I like about this is that it is local.
Mm-hmm.
The big climactic battle is on a singular ship.
Yeah.
It is two ships going at it. And that's supposed to be the big climactic end. It isn't at World's End. It's not like the war of pirates against all of England, you know what I mean? It's not a world war event.
No.
It is very local. It is one ship against another ship, and that is something I can appreciate because one ship is undead.
Fair. Yeah.
You know, it's like it's cool. It's cool. It's small. It's localized, and that's something that I can appreciate.
I will say though, at what point, as a normal mortal human being, do you see like an undead skeleton? Do you think, maybe I'm just supposed to die?
Yeah, exactly. And so Norrington is seeing all this conflict, and he says, "Back to the ship now." And this dude finally looks over at the bell, and he stabs the guy. Which, although we don't see any blood or anything, we can assume that guy's dead.
His sacrifice was well made. He rang the bell.
Yes, which was very vital to this situation.
Mm-hmm.
And now, the main pirates are now setting up cannons to fire at Norrington's men, who are sailing back to the Interceptor. Wait. They're on the Interceptor. He literally said back to the Interceptor. So they're on the Interceptor, not the Dauntless.
Not the Dauntless.
So they've sailed back to the Interceptor. Oh yeah, because I guess that's what they sailed back on. Interesting.
But I thought the Interceptor
was taken by Jack.
Will and Jack.
And it blew up.
When did it blow up?
Do we find a plot hole in Pirates of the Caribbean?
We have found a couple.
The Interceptor blew up.
We have found a couple, but none as big as this one.
None as big as this.
The Interceptor was blown up by dynamite.
Yeah. I never noticed this. This is interesting. Hold on. Let's see. Let me take a look at it.
Make for the ship. Move.
Okay. Hold on.
Just the distance.
My mistake. Okay. I was thinking when he said back to the Interceptor, I was thinking of the beginning of the movie when Jack and them steal the Interceptor, and he's like, men back to the Interceptor. Sorry, he says make for the ship. I was about to go hog wild. I was like, they destroyed the Interceptor.
They destroyed the Interceptor. The Interceptor got blown up. Okay, so when you brought that up, I thought, did they say Interceptor?
Yeah.
Because at the distance in the shot, it looked like a Man of War, like the Dauntless, with all the cannons and the 3 stories and all that shit. So I was like, there's no way they would have made that mistake.
Let me hear that. I need to hear it. Let's see. So yeah, they see that's definitely a Man of War.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big boy. That's a big dick energy right there.
That's a thick girl.
Yeah, that would require at least 25 kills, a flag takedown, and killing the captain.
Hell yeah.
As far as Assassin's Creed Brotherhood or Assassin's Creed 4
That's how you measure.
It's a big guy.
Ship quality is measured by if you kill the captain or not.
Yep. Okay, so he says make for the ship. Sorry, for a second there I thought he said back to the Interceptor, and I was going to be like, wait. It's a big halt. Well, at least they thought of that, and they decided to, say make for the ship instead of talking about the Dauntless, because this is the Dauntless. Stabby, stabby. Guy's dead. And now they're sailing back while they're loading up cannons, which makes sense. Yeah. You have the cannons at the ready. Fucking fire them at Norrington's men. It makes sense. That's the thing I like about this movie. It's like, hey, we have these characters. They just boarded the Dauntless. We didn't forget about them. Let's use that to our advantage and have them fire at Norrington's men who are trying to approach.
Yeah.
It makes sense. It's all logical, right? It's freaking awesome. Boom. And he's like, hurry, as they're getting shot at. Narrowly missing. And even, what is he? The governor? Governor Swan.
Governor Swan.
Is like, oh, there's some battles going on. Apparently, they're all actually dead. And that dude is also dead.
These men have no sense of propriety.
Yeah. Literally, they're busting through windows. And then, like, he's scared until somebody grabs his hat. Or his hat.
Yeah, his
hair. And he's like, nope, that's where I fucking draw the line. You can break my windows. You can board my ship, but I will be damned if you touch my hair.
That's where all my sense of propriety is held.
That's where all my dandruff goes. And so he's like, nope. And he starts pulling on it. He's like, nope.
Like, you son of a bitch.
Look at this position.
That is my powdered wig.
Like he has all of the strength to hold on to that wig. He's got his feet propped up in a decent position.
Like,
he's got his hands gripped on. He's doing basically a deadlift.
Yeah, he's doing a deadlift against this guy.
Although his back is probably extremely curved.
Oh, for sure. There's no, yeah.
But yeah, you gotta round out that back or straighten it out at least.
You gotta guys, if you're ever into like any sort of fitness or exercise, no matter what the circumstance is, straighten your spine.
Yes, keep the spine straight for the love of God.
It doesn't even have to like involve your spine that much. Keep your spine straight. Like if you're doing tricep pull downs,
spine straight,
shoulders back, spine straight. That's how you get the best.
Doing bicep curls, spine straight.
No matter what, keep your back straight, man.
Yeah, keep it back. Be on the lookout.
Or lady.
Yeah, or lady. See, so yeah, he does the whole deadlift basically, and he pulls it, and then fucking takes what looks like a peg leg and just breaks the arm at the elbow.
I don't know what miscellaneous object that was, but it looked like a piece of heavy metal.
I always thought it was a peg leg for some reason.
I don't know, but something. Maybe a vase.
Oh, it was fantastic. So they continue fighting. Jack and Barbossa, they're doing their thing. They're clash, right, going at it. And then Jack is like, Barbossa tosses down his sword, and he's like, you can't beat me.
Yeah.
And Jack is like, well, I'm going to stab you because I don't like you. Stabs him. And then Barbossa, even though a lot of people will say this is contrived, it's like, he didn't feel any pain. I thought they've been showing signs of pain. It's like, if he was expecting to be stabbed, which he was,
yeah, he
could play it off.
Yeah,
right?
If you have time to prepare, even if it's for like a second, you're just like, yeah.
It's like getting hit by a syringe.
You'd be like, hey, Jeremy, I'm going to pinch your nipple. Like that. It's like that. It's just like, I'm going to telegraph what I'm about to do.
Yeah, I'm going to tell. Yeah, exactly. So he's expecting it. He stabs him, and he's like, well, I don't know what I was expecting, but I guess, that was it.
That was exactly what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah, so he's like, fine. He's like, I can't die. So he pulls the thing out, and then immediately stabs Jack with it. And here's the big moment.
The big M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah.
Twist.
Oh, God. Stabs Jack, and Jack is like, oh, damn. I have been pierced.
He's like, that's what it feels like to be eviscerated.
I guess that's what it feels like to be betrayed. So he's been stabbed.
A lot of betrayal happening at Jack. Right?
Yeah. He's been stabbed, and he looks over and horrified at Barbossa. He's like, how could you do this to me?
I can't tell if this was just like really good acting or if he forgot that he was immortal for a second.
Honestly, it was probably he probably forgot. He was in the heat of the moment, and he's like, I've been stabbed. He's like, oh yeah, I've been stabbed.
That means nothing.
Because Barbossa's like, how does it feel, you know?
Motherfucker.
Yeah.
Kicks him in the balls right
And then
after.
Jack walks backwards, and then boom, Skeleton Jack. He's actually not dead.
He pocketed one of those gold pieces.
He pocketed one of the coins, and
like
then
we were shown.
Barbossa's confusion. He's like, I'm sorry. The fuck? Excuse me? How are you not dead?
Because let's say,
How did the blazes did you get off that island? And I just stabbed you. How are you not dead?
Jack has escaped from this island twice, has been stabbed through the lungs, survived because he's immortal. Let's also rewind a little bit. It says that anybody, and that includes anybody, even if you're a fucking monkey.
True.
If you take a gold piece out of this, like, trove, you're fucking done for.
You're cursed for eternity.
Cursed. You are cursed, no exceptions. But that also takes me back to a previous scene where it's like, when does the curse end? Does the curse end when you pass it on to another guy?
No, the way the curse works, as far as I'm aware, is that everyone who has partaken in the curse, if you have taken gold, you must pay it back by returning the gold with a slice of your blood.
That brings up a great point, Jeremy. You just brought up a great point for me. Because Jack had the medallion at one point.
Yeah.
He didn't pay back blood.
No.
The monkey just took it from him.
Yeah.
So that would mean, was Jack immortal since then? Or since he pocketed one of the gold
Not
coins?
necessarily. As far as I am aware, the way that the curse works is whoever has taken from the chest is the ones who be cursed.
So it has to specifically
if you sold or if you bought
sorry.
Nice. If you bought something from a merchant and you pay them with this gold coin, as far as I'm aware, the merchant is not cursed, you are still cursed. Because you were the initial taker.
Okay, so
it's whoever takes it from the chest specifically.
Okay, so the chest itself is really the main platform or ground zero of this curse, is the chest itself.
Which you could even argue that when Jack takes here's where it kind of gets really, really dulled. Or muddled, you could say. When Jack takes the coins from the chest, you could argue even if he gave all of the coins back, he still would be cursed because he didn't pay blood.
Yeah. Because that's my thing.
Because he still kept a coin.
He kept a coin.
But you could argue that because he doesn't give blood until later, he never gave back or paid for the curse. So you could say that even if he dropped all of the coins back, he would still be cursed.
Yeah, but that's.
But because it's a movie, it makes sense that he takes a whole coin.
Yeah, it's the convolution of a movie-made curse, of
Yeah, if the movie really wanted to get into the details of it, that's how far it would go.
Yeah, it's
but because of the sake that is a kind of a subplot, as it were, they're like, oh yeah, we'll just let him roll really high on a pickpocket and just slide a hand one of those gold coins.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so Jack is not dead because he took one of the coins and did not pay back the proper sacrifice and deliver it back to the Aztec chest. So, Jack is like, that's interesting. He's like, so I'm not dead.
Amazing.
What a gamble.
All right, I'm gonna go pee.
Go pee. So I want to continue this real quick. So Will looks over at Jack, who is like, "Hey, I'm not dead, even though I've been stabbed through the chest with a blade." And Will is like, "The fuck is happening?" And so Jack is like, let me flex my coin real quick. Let me flex my a cha-ching I've got on my person. And so he's like, bring. He's like, if you see right here, he's like, look at somebody, come look at this. I got this little cha-ching and a holla bing. He's like, I got some coin on me. I stole some stuff. He's like, I couldn't resist, mate. So he's like, hey, guess what? I can't die either. You know, you couldn't die, so you had the upper hand. He's like, here there be monsters, and we can't die. Blah, 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 blah. And then it's like, oh yeah, guess what? I can't die either. Oh. Yeah, so there's that whole thing. And Barbosa's like, fuck. There's not much more he's like, I can do. He's like, I guess I will just keep hurting you, even though you can't. And I love it how Jack reaches for his own sword in his sternum and pulls it out to fight. And then Barbosa throws coins on him to kind of, distract him or surprise him. And then boom, continues more attack. We have more fight scene. Boom, 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 boom. We have more shit. Jack kicks Barbosa down. Barbosa rolls around. And of course, there's great special effects where it shows the skeleton when he's in the moonlight, and then regular Barbosa when it's in not moonlight. So there's all that. And the fighting continues. And then it cuts to the cannons that are firing, and they're really terrible at aiming because they're very much bunched up together.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of like when you're playing Battleship, and all of the group is bunched together.
Yeah.
Once you get one, you get all of them.
Yeah.
Except the problem is they're really close. They're just not hitting that one.
Yeah.
I would have accepted it if one boat had gotten just fucking nailed by a cannonball and wrecked all the shit. At least one.
It didn't have to be like. It didn't even have to be the ship that Norrington's on. Not the ship, the longboat.
It's
the canoe,
fine.
basically.
It's fine.
It didn't have to be the one that Norrington was on.
Just one.
If just one little canoe got hit by a cannonball, that would have been enough.
I do adore this scene with Governor Swan.
Yeah.
Where
every scene that he's in is just a 5-star scene.
He's battling this forearm of a skeleton, right?
Which kind of opens up the question.
Indeed
it's so bizarre to think, like, are they still in control of their bodies if they get separated? Like, if their arm gets separated from their bodies, are they still in control?
When it gets to the really nitty-gritty of this curse.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, it's played off as a joke. It's like, yes, the arm, even though detached from the person, it's still alive. That whole that's basically what they try to play it off as. It's like, you took it off the person, but it's still alive because it's undead, and so it has a mind of its own.
It does remind me.
Yeah.
You know what it reminds me of? Did you ever play that game? It's an old game from the original Xbox. They never remade it, but it's called Stubbs the Zombie.
No, I never did.
Oh my god, it was a fucking revolutionary game.
Really?
In terms of zombie genre, it was groundbreaking.
Really?
Because you just played a zombie, and the mechanics were that, like, anyone that you bit or they became zombies too, and you controlled their army, and they just kind of went off and just started spreading this disease without you. It was like Oblivion's Radiant AI, like the predecessor of that.
Wow.
But one of the cool features was that, as a zombie, you had limbs and parts of your body that you can just sort of disperse,
detach.
Yeah, you had you could remove your own head and roll it like a bowling ball, and it became a bomb.
That's cool.
You had your liver or your appendix that became a grenade, but you could also detach your forearm, and it would crawl around. You controlled it, by the way. It would crawl around, and if you latched onto somebody's head or somebody else, you would control them. It was a super...
That's really cool.
It was so fucking cool, especially for the original 2000 4 to 5 Xbox genre.
Yeah.
And that era of games. Stubbs the Zombie was a groundbreaking game and is so unsung as a hero. It's one of the unsung heroes of the original Xbox era.
Agreed. Here's to that game.
Here's to that. To all of the unsung heroes You know, we have Morrowind, we have Fable.
True.
But Stubbs the zombie.
Stubbs the zombie.
Let's never forget.
Never forget Stubbs the zombie.
Mm-hmm.
On to that face.
Yeah. That grossed out face.
Yeah, he begins his battle with the fucking forum that is not dead.
Yeah.
They continue their fighting montage, firing flintlocks, throwing people downstairs. And that guy holds it up, and it's like, yes, I've conquered it. And then it reaches for him. It's like, shit. He's having to hold it back. Shoves it in a drawer, and it starts shaking because it's trying to get out. And so he's like, I'm just going to hold it back because this is my fight. So this guy, and this is where people try to get contradictory, is they're like, oh, this guy's showing pain. You know, I thought they didn't experience pain. It's like, no.
They don't experience pleasure.
They don't experience pleasure.
They can still feel pain.
As far as we know, they still, I mean, you know, they all of the feelings that they express are something that we can express if we were in their situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not nothingness, because honestly, that sounds fucking delightful.
It's like, would you rather... Because that's the thing about, like, this curse, is that you only experience the negative parts of living.
You know, it's like, even though they say, you know, I feel nothing, you know, not the touch of a woman or the spray of the sea, you know,
the taste of food.
Taste of food, yeah. It's like, no, they just, but they do also say that that you know, what was it? Barbosa says, I'm starving to death and haven't died. It's like, so it feels like he's starving to death.
Yeah.
Which is a hunger.
He still feels pain.
Yeah.
It's this...
Honestly, it's one of the worst curses you could ever have.
Because
this is a really terrible curse.
Because that's the thing, is like, if he just felt nothing, that'd be a very livable curse.
Yeah, very livable.
Like, I don't feel pain, I don't feel pleasure, I just kind of feel numb all the time.
Yeah.
Whereas what the curse really is like, I feel hunger, I feel thirst, I feel pain.
I feel only pain.
I only feel pain.
Yeah. Nothing can satisfy my pain.
Yeah.
Nothing can relieve it.
Exactly.
Awful.
Which is a real curse.
Yeah.
Because there's no situation in which, like, oh yes, I feel nothing. I feel numbness, that's it. That's all I ever feel is nothing.
Right.
Which is just like, honestly, I would get used to that.
Yeah. And then they stabs the other guy, and they're like, blah. And then Will jumps in front. They let go of their own swords, and then they pull out the other ones and attack. It's very silly, very fun.
Yeah.
Fun, kind of goofy attacks, showing off more of the special effects from going in and out of the
moonlight.
Yeah, the moonlight. Great choreography with their positioning and slicing. It's good. And so, Barbosa says, "So what now, Jack Sparrow? We to be two immortals locked in an epic battle, you know, until Judgment Day and the trumpet sound," which is obviously a biblical reference to sound of the trumpets.
Biblical references in this movie.
Yes.
Between the apples, the original sin, the Judgment Day, all that. Tons of biblical.
Yeah, he's like, you know, so we basically want to fight for eternity, and Jack is like, you know, or you could just surrender. And so they continue to go after it, slicing, more dicing, more good choreography. I think it's fairly decent. He screams at him. Jack runs with his little flailing
arm thing that he always does.
We cut to this dude with the big fucking hammer that he's got.
Yeah, his Mjolnir.
Yeah, and the dude with his sickle or hook.
Oh my god. Hammer and sickle. They're communists, Jeremy.
And then they take a boat to the fucking face, and they get knocked off in pieces into the ocean. And so
that's kind of funny, actually.
Yeah, it's pretty funny that they're disembodied in the ocean. The crew cheer, and Elizabeth's like, "All of you with me. Will is in that cave, and we must save him. Ready and heave." And if you didn't notice, nobody else is fucking over here heaving with her.
No.
She's the only one heaving and hoeing.
She's a hoe and heaver.
She's a fucking hoe. No. And so she's like, what's going on? Why is no one over here? And they're looking at her like she's stupid. And she's like, I need your help. Come on. And, Cotton says some bullshit.
Mm.
And, Alex Jones is like, Cotton's right outside. We got the pearl, so we got everything we need. Elizabeth says, are we gonna leave Jack? They say Jack owes them a ship, which they do, It's an interesting thing because, like, look, the code says that we should abandon anybody that isn't within our reach. Jack owed us a ship. We've got the ship. We don't have Jack. Code says that we should ditch him.
Yeah. It's a sense of, like, do we obey the law or do we obey our moral code?
Right. And so Elizabeth's like, you're pirates, hang the fucking code and hang the rules. And then she calls to Barbossa. She says they're more like guidelines anyway. A Barbossa line. Yeah. Which is really cool because it shows that she's developed as a character where she's like, because she used to obsess over the code. She knew the code by number.
She knew the code of parlay.
Yeah, she was like a Jewish lawyer. She knew every, like, the ins and outs.
She's one of those big city hook-nosed Jew lawyers.
Oh my god. They're goblins, Harry. Clever as they come.
Those shifty-eyed oven dodgers.
Oh my god. But at the end, and she was like,
Editor, do not cut that out.
She by the end of it, she's like, you know what, fuck it, they're more like guidelines anyway.
Yeah.
Said Ben Shapiro.
Another shifty-eyed heeb.
And so they think about it. Good long thought. And then they send her on her way. Like, well, we'll help you get off, but after that, we're fucking leaving. And so they fucking leave with the Black Pearl.
Come on, let's go help Jack. He's our friend, and we are, pals and teams. And they're just like, fuck that shit. You can go help him if you want. We got what's ours.
Yeah. And then they, some of the pirates look over and they're like, is it supposed to be doing that? Sailing away. And someone says, they're stealing our ship. And then, of course, he goes, bloody pirates again.
Yeah.
A callback to the whole pirate theme, of course, that we're going with. With Jack from the very beginning being like, pirate, to this, where they're like, bloody pirates.
It's kind of like that.
It's like an inside joke, almost.
Yeah, it's almost like the Sith code.
Yeah.
Where it's like, the Sith code and the pirate code could honestly be chalked up to, I got mine, so fuck you.
Yeah.
It's like, individual gain can only get you so far. Like, there's a reason why, like, animals always travel in groups. There's very few instances of animals that are solely isolationists or solely individuals. It's because camaraderie and teamwork is the most successful survival strategy ever devised by a creature.
True.
It's like, humans are social animals. Wolves are social animals. People always talk about, like, yeah, I'm a badass. I'm a lone wolf. Lone wolves fucking die in the wild.
That they do.
So if you ever consider yourself a lone wolf, just know you're a fucking loser.
You're dead.
You're a dead loser.
Yep. So now Norrington's men, which I like how it took them a while to get there. It took them a solid, like, 10-ish minutes.
10 to 15.
Yeah, 10 to 15 minutes.
I mean, they were just on rowboats.
Yeah. It took them a solid 10 minutes to get up to the boat. And now they're finally climbing with rope and everything. Climbing up,
reinforcements came.
And then immediately Norrington's with the pistol. He's like ready to fucking go. Just boom.
I bet he headshot that dude.
He did. He fucking clipped his side.
Right through the skull.
And so they're going at it. They're going hog wild on this combat. Again, more, final attacks, like all sorts of shit going on.
Norrington is one hell of a swordsman. He's taking on like 2 or 3 guys.
Yeah, he's doing freaking fantastic. And Gillette is still like scared out of his shit. Boom. knocks out one of the comedic pirates' eyes. And he's like,
Yeah.
yeah, and he's like running
That
through,
guy.
trying to grab it in a dress, by the way.
Oh, yeah, he never changed out of that dress.
No, just constantly looking. I like how these two guys who were originally just guards, like, fuck it, I guess we're gonna die. It was a pleasure. Yeah, and they just scream. I always get a kick out of that where they were like, I guess this is where we're gonna die. Just handshake. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, why not, buddy? Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
And they run off into it. It's great. That dude throws off more grenades.
Yeah.
Will ducks out of the way.
Fighting.
Fighting.
That's like, let's go is the male equivalent of slay.
Honestly, basically.
Mm-hmm. Same energy, same idea.
Yep. And then that guy with the bomb walks up to Will and he says, I'm going to teach you the meaning. I always thought he said, I'm going to teach you the meaning of parlay. And he was going to kill him. And I always thought that was funny. But no, I guess he says pain.
Let's hear it. Yeah, it sounds like pain.
Yeah, it does. But as a kid, I always thought it was parlay because they always made jokes of parlays.
They keep bringing it up.
Yeah. But Elizabeth, and this is the one that never really sat well with me. It's just me personally. She's like, do you like pain? Right? And then boom, hits him. And she says, try wearing a corset. Obviously, a callback to the very beginning.
Yeah.
And it's one of those where it's just like, huh.
Yeah.
It's
very much like.
It's one of those where you're like, I get what you're going for, but it just didn't sit well.
By the way, anyone who's ever like,
I'm
going to give the audience advice. Corsets are like shoes. You have to break them in first. They are conformed to your shape and your size. And even then...
So wear them more.
You have to wear them out. You have to break them in. Just like shoes. So a lot of this whole, like, corsets are the most painful thing I ever experienced as a woman. Yeah, that's because you've worn them for, like, 2 hours a day once a week. It's like, you have to wear them every day for several weeks
not
in a row.
Not even talking about women who wear them once.
No, nothing like that. Like the material becomes more flexible and more contorted to your body the more you like wear it out and give it some like shape yourself.
Yep.
So quit bitching is my point. Being a woman's not that hard, sluts.
And they now begin to go after it. And then boom. Jack and Barbosa are going at it. They look over and they're like, whose side's Jack on? And Will says, at the moment, which I thought was really funny.
Mm-hmm.
Referencing the idea that, he kind of flips on a dime as to whatever appeals to him.
Jack is and always has been out for himself.
Yep, and they continue going just hog wild. A lot of great combat, good choreography. A bit simple in some areas. I thought this was funny because they're, they can't die. They shoved a rod through this guy, and the guy with the freaking hat, the bomber guy, and he's stuck in the middle. And I always thought it was funny that they were pulling after each other. It's goofy, stupid humor, right? Jack and Barbosa go at it, and this was cool. He sticks a bomb in the middle of the bomb guy's chest.
Yeah, that was
right.
Funny. Yeah.
And then pushes him out of the sun or out of the moonlight so that way he can't remove it because his skin is in the way.
That kind of opens up the question of like, does your body react differently inside the moonlight than it does outside of it?
That's what I would assume.
That's gotta be a death sentence for at least that guy, right?
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. So that guy obviously says, no fair, and then boom, freaking dies. So here's the big stuff, right? So those guys are now donezo. Will starts hauling ass up the hill to the chest.
Mm-hmm.
Jack, boom, right here, big thing, slices blood.
Yeah, slices
on with
blood.
the coin.
Mm-hmm.
Boom. Will runs up, continues slicing, throws coin. Will catches it. So now Will has the coin of the blood. So he has one of the coins, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Barbosa, boom, gun at other friendly to Elizabeth. And Elizabeth's like, fuck, I have a gun pointed at me, right?
Yeah.
So this is a big situation. So we are in a situation now, right? Barbosa sees Will run up to the chest, saying, and that lets him know, oh shit, he might be trying to break the curse if he spills his blood up there. Why is he running up there? Then Jack tosses him a coin right past Barbosa, saying, oh yeah, I'm breaking the curse as well. Here's my coin. Mm-hmm. Barbosa by then knows, okay, you're going to break the curse. I'm going to kill a bitch. Like, I'm going to fucking cap her. What are you going to do about it? Like, if you break the curse, I kill her is what he's saying.
Yeah.
And Jack goes, essentially,
which, by the way, great tactical and situational awareness.
Great situational awareness. Boom, I have something you want. What are you going to do about it, right? So he's like, just boom, boom, ready, at the ready. He's like, you're going to kill me. I'm going to kill someone you love. What are you going to do about it? Boom, great situational awareness. Immediately understands the idea of being threatened and knows how to handle it.
Yeah.
And then what surprises him is that Elizabeth's like, oh shit, and then boom, gunshot. And this is the part where everyone gets quiet. It's like, who the fuck fired that shot?
Yeah.
Who fired the round? Elizabeth obviously shocked. You could the way the camera work looks like she could have been shot.
Yeah.
So we really aren't supposed to know who got hit.
See, that's one of those suspenseful moments that happens well.
Mm-hmm.
A ton of movies attempt this kind of like suspense of like,
ooh, what actually happened?
And they fuck up every time because it's so predictable.
Yeah.
But things happen so quickly and so many possibilities.
That's another thing. It's so quick.
It's very quick and so many possibilities are still open that you're just like, honestly, that could be.
You don't have time to process what actually happened, because if you look at this all happens within the span of 10 seconds. I could argue. Yeah, look. Hand slices. Boom. Runs up. Boom, boom. Tosses coin. Catches. Gun. Surprise.
Gunshot.
Right? Boom.
10 seconds.
10 seconds. 10 seconds.
Which is...
like, hand slice, toss, Elizabeth's running up, Will's running up. He's like, okay, the bad situation, gun at the ready. Boom, gunshot happens. It's like who the fuck fired that?
Like,
what just happened?
Like, audience, put it in the comments. Give us, like, a tally mark amount. How many times have you seen a character fall off camera and then another character catches them at the right second?
Right.
Like, how many times have you seen that scene?
All the time.
It's the most overplayed shit ever made. I hope to God that it gets phased out eventually. Yeah. Because I'm so fucking tired of seeing that. But this was done really well because everything that happens within 10 seconds. There's a lot of quick shots, so your brain can't quite, catch everything at once. But when it does reveal itself, it kind of wraps itself together.
Yeah.
In a very nice, neat bow.
Exactly. So gunshot, boom, right? And then Barbosa looks perplexed.
See, she's even shivering in that scene. Like she just got cold.
Yeah, exactly. But Barbosa looks confused. Did he not fire the shot? Was it not him? He looks over. Jack. Boom. Literally smoking gun.
This is one of the greatest revenge scenes possible because Jack does not say a single thing.
Not a single fucking word.
No, cheesy one-liners.
I can live with that.
No action. Yeah. Just a cold fucking stare deep into his enemy's eyes.
Yep. Yep, indeed.
Well, let's take a look at it. Let's just take a look. No editing, just take a look at this scene.
Yeah, look at this shot. Just fucking beautiful. I've spent 10 years waiting for this moment.
10 years waiting for this moment. Finally, the payoff has come. And I have nothing to say other than just a cold stare and a smoking gun.
The one time Jack Sparrow has nothing to say.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
Beautiful scene. Just lets the gun rest. And then Barbossa is like, he kind of laughs. He's like, 10 years you carried that pistol. He's like, and now you waste your shot. Because he's like, I still have her at gunpoint. I still have her threatened.
Mm-hmm. I'm still immortal.
Still immortal. You just shot me for no reason. I can still fucking kill her, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know? And then he didn't waste it. Ugh. The beautiful piece. It's like, it's already done, my guy. It's already done. Barbossa looks up, lowers his pistol, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Lowers his pistol. Will's here. Boom. Already has his hand. And if you notice, if you're a fast looker, there's blood. There's blood on that knife. Blood on this dagger. And his hand's got a couple of coins in it.
He's still mortal.
He's still mortal.
And his eyes are still yellow.
Yep. And then drop. Right. Boom, boom. Two coins of blood. So you can easily assume Will picked up a coin, slit, dropped.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking beautiful. Boom. Debt has been, and if you notice, you can see blood throughout each of these coins.
It's very dry blood. That's
very dry blood. This is fresh. Yeah.
That's very fresh blood. But in the center of all these coins, you see very dry,
very
brown
which
blood.
Honestly, I never noticed before.
Great
this is an incredible detail.
Great detail. Because blood has to be repaid. So yeah, they sliced all of their hands or their wrists,
and they replayed the blood. Yeah.
Yeah. So all of these coins are going to have at least some trace of dry blood.
Fucking drops all the coins back in the chest. Fucking
including
awesome.
The medallion.
So awesome. Elizabeth has not been shot. She's good. She's good. In case y'all guys are wondering. Spoilers.
And she is the horniest she's ever been.
Yeah. Looks back at Barbossa, and Jack is like, yeah, by the way, in case you didn't notice, we dropped the curse, and I just shot you.
Jack still hasn't said a word.
Jack still, no fucking word.
Since he fired that gun.
No word. No, not a word.
Since he fired that gun, he's been silent.
And I love this. Oh, this is the piece de resistance. Like,
it's so beautiful. Beautiful
delivery. Barbossa's like, I didn't shoot her. You know, he's putting all the pieces together. I didn't shoot her. He put the pieces back in, and you just shot me. Looks down, opens up the jacket, and then boom, fucking blood starts pouring, gushing out of his heart.
That is a pistol shot straight to the heart, too.
Straight to the heart. Got to put up the overlay, but then looks back up slowly and just a slow understanding of, fuck, I lost.
Yeah.
10 years in the making, and I lost. I got what I wanted at the sake of everything else, basically. You know?
And this is a great line, too.
Oh, my God. I love this line. So much behind it. Because you have to remember, and he chuckles at this. He's like, he laughs at the irony.
He laughs at it.
He's like unfucking believable.
He's like, wow, this is actually kind of incredible.
He's like, this is what happened. Out of all things that I was imagining that I would feel when I get back to being human again. You know, the irony of it all. Because he's always been talking about, I feel nothing. I want to feel again. I want to understand what it means to have feeling, to have purpose, or not purpose, but like to have sensations and emotions again. What does it feel like to have all that stuff? And it's like, I finally get to feel again. But he goes, and Jack looks down again.
Yeah, cold stare.
Not
no
a
words.
single fucking word.
No words, just a stare.
Just a satisfied look. He's like, I did what I fucking have been wanting to do for 10 goddamn years.
This man is nothing but Sigma male grindset. Just goals and nothing else.
Man's a gamma male right there. Just stares at him. And then Barbossa says, I feel. Which is what he always wanted for the past 10 years. You know, he's wanted to just feel again. But what does he feel? cold. Oh,
Oh,
it's so good.
it's
The one thing you
beautiful.
feel is cold. It's so good.
It kind of makes my dick hard a little bit.
I love it. It's so good. And,
It's like,
he starts losing focus in his eyesight.
Yeah, his eyes start to cross a little bit. You can tell that he's getting that tunnel vision.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Where he's
I
losing
feel
focus.
cold.
It's so good.
Guys,
So good.
fellas in the comments, tell us what scene in a movie, what line or what scene got your dick a little like twitched. Like what scene in a movie twitched your cock a little bit?
What gave your phallus a little twingle?
Yeah, a little bit. Like, it doesn't have to be like full blown erection, but like it kind of like tickled it a little bit.
This is so good. It's
Comment
like,
that scene.
the irony that he's like out of all things I was gonna feel when I get back, the one thing I get to feel is death itself.
Yeah.
The embrace of death.
Mm-hmm.
It's so satisfying and awesome that to see what happens in the conclusion of the character is like,
Yeah.
out of all things that I finally get to feel, the one, because of the fact that I couldn't die, the one thing I get to feel as soon as I come back is death.
That sort of like, this scene in particular kind of cements the idea that this was supposed to be a one-off movie.
Mm-hmm.
And that there were no sequels planned.
Exactly.
You need another beer?
Maybe. Yeah, I'm pretty fucking toasty.
Cheers,
Thank
bro.
you, my good man. Oh, and it's nice and cold.
It's
Ooh.
still cold.
Good deal. So yeah, it
Um,
feels cold. Oh, I love it. And
cold.
and not only that, but the delivery.
Yeah, he's
I
just like,
feel, and he lets it sit. He's like, I feel. He puzzles it for a moment. He's like almost as if he's losing consciousness.
almost like he forgot what cold felt
Yeah,
like.
he's like trying to describe it, right?
Yeah.
He's like, I feel cold, and then and he collapses. It's just, and then boom, and then not only that, but this. A fucking green apple falls out of his hand. You can't make this shit. It's so good.
Okay, that scene was kind of cheesy to me because I'm like, when did he
Yeah,
grab
when did he grab an apple? And to be fair, it's in the wrong hand because that was the hand that his gun was in. But still, the symbolism in it is really good.
Yeah.
Now, whether or not it was done, it wasn't done properly because he had a gun in his left hand. So we will not get points for that, but still, you can appreciate the symbolism that they were going for with the idea that he had an apple in his hand, ready to eat.
Yeah.
When he was ready to, become human again. That was the thing that he was looking forward to the most.
Yeah.
Was a bite of an apple.
Mm-hmm.
And he never got that opportunity because somebody fucking shot him. Before he had the chance. It's really good. It's really cool.
And
and
don't
awesome.
you hate it when you're trying to bite an apple and then someone shoots you instead?
That's gonna be a Legionnaire's line for John. And don't you hate it? It's good. And then there goes the passing of Captain Barbossa.
Because by the way, I don't know if like how invested the audience is in this, but that's sort of like the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie is where the apple motif came for John.
Really?
Yeah, because John in the series is considered he's an ex-addict.
Yeah, he's a drug addict of sorts.
Yeah, he smoked opiates. Like he would crush up pills and smoke them in a pipe.
Yes.
Which is the easiest and most affordable way to do heroin.
Right.
And then it's sort of like the message of the show is that like anything can be addictive.
Yes.
It's like you can take anything too far, which is a motif of the whole show.
Yes.
Is like violence.
Things can go too far.
Violence, justice, vigilantism, vengeance. All of these things are describe the same thing. Yeah. But they all have different connotations and meanings, even though they achieve the same goal.
Yeah, it's like it takes the thing that they learn throughout is that moderation is key. everything they usually end up taking too far out of moderation, and that's what ends up becoming the crux of the issue.
Mm-hmm.
You know, John won't fucking stop eating apples, right? You know, it's
That's,
like Aaron won't stop killing people. You know, it's like,
it's like, so it's
to serve as justice and vengeance.
Yeah, so it's that sense of like anything can be addictive. You can fall too far into anything.
Yeah.
And this movie actually gave me the idea of like, because Barbosa, he's just like, I just want to bite a fucking apple.
Yeah.
And taste an apple.
I want to taste an apple.
And so it's like that idea came from this movie. It's like, what if John, after he kicked heroin, what if he just like became addicted to eating apples?
Yeah. What if, you know, it got that kind of sugar high from apples and just, you know, ate all kinds of apples, you know, ate
like,
applesauce, drink apple fruited beverages.
A lot of my ideas and like inspirations come from very passing lines and motifs within movies, because this movie had a very hard apple motif, like Adam and Eve.
Very hard apple motif.
Hard apple motif. However, there is a scene in a very particular episode of a very obscure Comedy Central cartoon called Metalocalypse.
Really?
Audience, if you have ever heard of Metalocalypse, then you might know the episode I'm talking about, where there is a character named Pickles, and he is a hardcore alcoholic. And so the rest of the bandmates, because they're in a band, they're in a heavy metal band, death metal band, and they're just talking, but like, you know, Pickles, there are other things you can do besides drink. Like, you could eat an apple.
Really?
So they bring up, it's like, yeah, like every time you feel like drinking, just eat an apple instead. And so, like, that scene in that episode of an obscure cartoon that was, like, aired on Comedy Central, like, at 10 at night, which is, like, the only time that I would have... I'm, like, one of the 13 people that watched that show.
Yeah.
Because I had insomnia.
Everybody else was passed out while they saw George Lopez popping up and down.
Yeah. Like, I was the one of the probably 2% of the human population that had insomnia that bad that I would have watched this show at like 1 a.m. on Comedy Central. But anyway, like, yeah, a lot of my ideas and inspirations come from like very obscure sort of like sources, really. But yeah, that was kind of like the whole that was the explanation of why John is addicted to apples. It's because of Metalocalypse and this movie.
Right. Which is fascinating, honestly, to see the creation of that, because it pulls a lot of interesting details in from, you know, of course, because you get a lot of your ideas and inspiration through other mediums.
There's no such thing as an original thought.
You know, shit. And so, but this scene in particular is beautiful in the irony of it all.
Yeah.
It's beautiful irony. And so in Barbosa, you know, the great Captain Barbosa passes. And then, you know, Norrington lands a killing blow, stabs this guy and pulls it out, and then boom, they're all normal pirates again. And they're like, what happened? They look at themselves, they don't see themselves as bad or as undead. And you can see right here, Norrington has some blood, of course, draped across his sword.
Mm-hmm.
Nice little detail to add in. Like, yes, he is, you know, he's drawn blood.
Yeah, so that is straight up just wet blood on his sword.
Yep. And that guy kind of laughs.
And he's just sort of like...
just kind of chuckles as he's like... oh.
Kind of forgot that he was mortal for a
second.
Yeah,
well, because they didn't realize it until now. They just became mortal.
Yeah.
And he collapses.
Fell down.
Yeah. And then, of course, it answers an interesting question. It's like, what about the fucking bone arm that was trying to kill, what's his face over here? Governor Swan. He pulls it open, and we don't want to know what's in there. He's just like, oh, I'm just gonna close that. They're all trying to still be aggressive, but oh yeah, they really enhance that blood right here.
Yeah.
Look at that. They're like,
They took
yep,
an extra dip in the corn syrup.
yep, that is some shiny ass blood.
Yeah.
And then it goes towards the moon to insinuate, yes, the moon is in full view.
Mm-hmm.
In case you didn't
Fully
realize it,
out.
in case you didn't realize that the moon is fully out, and y'all guys are still in your human form.
It's like, oh shit.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess the curse is lifted now.
Guess the curse is lifted. I guess I'm mortal again, and so they drop their weapons.
It was like, well, we didn't go this far just to die.
Exactly. And then finally that dude finds his fucking
He's still
glass
in a
eye.
fucking dress.
And then ironically, the one big guy over here just says fucking parlay.
What a dork.
The way the movie rounds off a lot of these jokes, I really appreciate. The idea that parlay was the thing that Elizabeth told him when he had the power, and now at the very end of the movie, after using parlay a few times throughout the show,
Yeah.
he ends up saying parlay to the Royal Navy. So it's really it's nice to see.
It's very dumb.
Very dumb.
It's very, very corny and dumb.
Yes.
But I like it.
So Norrington says, the ship is ours, gentlemen, and then they do their cheesy huzzah. The music swells, and it's like, oh, yes, we have won the battle of the Dauntless. And the governor's like, wait a minute, did we do the thing?
I would
did we
like
win?
to rewind a little bit.
Sure.
Because there's a very solid detail.
Right here? Is this good?
Play.
Okay, so huzzah. Huzzah.
Now pause. See the glass?
Yeah.
That is warped glass. That's not factory-made glass. That's not machine-perfected glass.
Let me go ahead and get rid of us so they can see.
Yeah. That is human-made glass windows.
Really?
Yeah, because you can see the warp and see all of that and the cracks and the warping and like how the sun hits the glass and it sort of like distorts it throughout time.
Right.
That's a nice detail they didn't have to add.
That is a nice detail. It's very nice looking glass.
It's thick, like imperfect man-made glass.
That's
rather
cool.
than like very clean machine.
Yeah. That is a fair point. It looks very imperfect and warped, distorted, lines everywhere. Very rough looking glass. It doesn't look uniform. Doesn't even look designed. Just looks like it's trying to just be glass.
Yeah, it just looks.
It's very thick too. Very thick glass, like you said.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, good.
Great detail that they added.
Great detail indeed. So huzzah, huzzah, huzzah. And then of course the governor is like, yes, and then he's like,
kicked ass.
Oh guys, we're the bad ones. I tell you what,
the heroes won at the end of this story.
He's like, I'm gonna punch you, and so it cuts to them after the battle, after the small fight, and then Will walks over to Elizabeth, and she's like, oh, it's Will, and he doesn't even have the bow up. He's just got the long dreadlocks, like going.
Yeah.
Not dreadlocks. I'm so sorry. He's got just the long mane going on.
Basically.
He's rocking it. And
what do you think Orlando Bloom would look like with dreadlocks?
Terrible. So they're smiling at each other. He's like, I like you, you like me. Maybe we should find some place quiet and stare at each other. And then Jack's over here tosses shit around, causing such a ruckus. He's like, nope, don't want that gold piece. Maybe this one. Nope, don't want that one either.
This gold is trash. This is only like, what, 16, 18 carats tops? Disgusting. And throws it away.
Elizabeth says, we should return to the Dauntless. And then Will does the fucking beta cuck decision. And he says, your fiance will be wanting to know you're safe. Fucking A.
You little limp dick bitch. He's like, go to the Dauntless. Why don't we, savor the moment right now?
Shit. That's what he should say. But instead he's like, go to the Dauntless. Oh, yes. I'm sure your fiance will want to know that you're happy, even though I'll be over here not.
I'll be lonely and sad and my dick unsucked.
And she's like, yeah, sure.
She's like, wow, you really fucking like cock
and she's sad about it too. You can tell she wants to rewind it. Let's rewind that.
She almost fucking like burst out into tears.
Yeah, no shit. Because he's like, oh yeah, that's right. You decided to marry fucking what's his face. You know, she's like, he'll be wanting to know you're safe. And she's just like,
she is about to fucking break down.
Yeah, right there, you can see.
Like,
she's like,
I want to suck your cock so bad.
God dang it. And he's like, was it something I said?
That is such a classic man thing to say.
And Jack walks up, fucking crown and all.
The Sigma male grind set.
The Gamma male he is.
Meets the Beta male cock.
It's like, you know.
Greetings, mate.
If you were waiting for the opportune moment, that was it. And then he's like triumphant. He's like, now I'd be much obliged if you drop me off my ship, which he still assumes is out in the bay, which it's not.
With all this bling on me.
Yep. And then it turns out none of it's there. And he's all party pooper. And he's like, oh, this is so sad. And she says, I'm sorry, Jack. And he's like, they did what was right by them. Can't expect any more than that. So he's still good in you know, team spirit throughout it all. And then boom, we cut to the final bit. What a movie we have experienced.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, my crew kind of followed the pirates' code and they went off by themselves. I can't blame them.
Right.
But it still kind of sucks because now I'm at the mercy of Norrington and
now,
his fucking guys.
Now I'm about to be hanged.
It's like, ugh.
He's like, yep, all those heroics, and now I'm here.
What a drag.
Yep, and they're like, Jack Sparrow, you've been shot. And he's like, fucking Captain Jack Sparrow. Jesus Christ.
You dickless cuck.
Will walks up like a fucking Three Musketeer. Now, this is the point in the movie where everyone's really reached the peak of their arcs. They've completed their arcs. Will is now more than just a blacksmith. Elizabeth understands more about the pirates. And Jack is being hanged. Yeah. So everyone's really at, you know, the peak of their career.
Reached the pinnacle of their character development. What do you think about that, dude?
So
squishes.
So said crimes being numerous in quantity and sinister in nature. The most egregious of these are cited herewith. So we have basically everybody's fucking here. Elizabeth, Will, Governor Swan, Norrington, obviously
is that the
Jack.
Same fucking corset that she passed out in?
I actually don't think so, but it is still quite nice.
It is nice.
He says piracy, smuggling, and she says this is wrong. And then what's his face? Governor Swan says Commodore Norrington is bound by the law, as are we all. Except for the fucking pirates.
Well, that's the thing is that, like, Norrington kind of does have that. You can see on his face right there.
Yeah. He does. He's not happy about this.
He does have the conflict of moral upstanding versus the law. And that's sort of something that we see in Norrington kind of as far as his character goes.
It's slow over time where he's like, you know, he starts to question whether or not what he's doing is right. Because Jack did show heroics and show ways to defeat the pirates, and he actually helped, and now he's hanging him for his crimes that he's previously committed. Which calls back to the very beginning when Jack says, where Norrington says one good deed is not enough to rid a man of a lifetime of wickedness. And then Jack says, but it is enough to condemn him. So even though he's done all this good, Norrington's still condemning him to death.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then the guy that's talking about all the crimes says impersonating a cleric of the Church of England, you know. And Jack was like, "Oh yeah, I remember I did that. That was fun." Jack's the executioner. He's like, "Oh, you're no fun." The parrot shows up, and everyone's like, "Oh shit!"
What?
and obviously takes a fucking shit on one of the royal guys.
That's one of the comedic duo.
Yeah, one of the comedic duos who obviously got a rank up because now they have the white hair.
Whoa.
Yeah, well, indeed.
The powdered wig.
Yep. Powdered wig and everything. So he tries to get him off. Will, looking like a fucking Three Musketeer, sees the bird, and he's like, "It's now my time." So he runs over to Elizabeth, freaking chatting all. Story arc complete. He's like Governor Swan, Commodore. And he addresses her as Elizabeth, not as Miss Swan.
That is big dick energy right there.
Big dick energy. Finally, the completion of of Will's arc.
That would have been hilarious if this role was played by Will Smith.
That'd be really fucking funny. But he addresses her as Elizabeth from the very beginning. That was the whole thing that he wanted to do. He wanted to call her Elizabeth. And now he has the confidence to address her as such. And she's like, excuse me, the fuck? You call me Elizabeth. You've never done that before.
She's a sour-faced cunt right now.
She's confused, And he's like, look, I should have told you every day from the moment I met you. When he was like, Will Turner, when he was like a little boy. He's like, I should have told you this from the moment I met you. And he says, I love you. Boom. Big fucking dick energy. He's like, I'm just going to lay it all on the table. He's like, I'm just a lowly blacksmith, but you're kind of hot and I want to bang you. I love you. And so he lets it all out. He lets all of the dirty laundry out to dry in front of the Commodore, in front of, Governor Swan. He's like,
let's remember that Governor Swan had acknowledged that Elizabeth was not happy marrying Norrington.
Yeah.
Because he was like, hey, sweetheart, I understand that this is a smart move.
Even if you're doing this for the right intentions, it could be a wrong decision.
I understand that this is a smart move, but I still care about your happiness.
Exactly.
As you are my daughter.
Yep.
And you are my flesh and blood, and I want to see you be happy.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a very, punctual
and she's obviously and she's obviously shocked by this. She's like, I don't know how to feel about this.
And her panties are flooding right now watching him walk away.
And Will's like, I have a job to do. And she's like, and he's like, I'm gonna go do some heroics
Quickly. Now. Foo Fighters play There Goes My Hero.
Oh god. So now they finally put the noose around Jack, and Jack is like, make sure it's not too tight around the neck. Bird flies off, and she's like, oh, shit's about to go down. She's like, Will's here in a nice outfit. Jack is about to be hanged. They're about to do some shit.
Yeah.
What can I do? Getting ready to roll for initiative. And then Norrington says Marines, and then she goes, I can't breathe. Oh yeah, that was the thing that worked last time. She faints, and then Norrington's like, Norrington and Governor Swan are both like, oh shit, she's fucking out there. She's collapsed yet again. And so they both reach down to help her. Will obviously has two swords, as you just saw. Executioner goes to pull the lever. Will says, move. All this shit's happening at once. They all clear the area, and she jumps up just in time to look. They pull the lever on Jack. Will throws the sword, and then a callback from the fucking beginning lodges it into the wood. The thing that prevented Jack from continuing in his goal is now saving his life. Because now his feet are now stuck on the fucking blade.
I don't know if that's a motif or a foil or what, but that's got to be some kind of irony.
Honestly, it's a setup and payoff. It's like they set it up in the beginning, and now they're paying it off by the fact that it's preventing him from dying. It's wonderful to see that they added it in the beginning, because it's one of those things where you're sitting there and you're like, oh yeah, in the beginning you're like, oh yeah, that's funny, but then it's like, boom, saves Jack, and everyone's like, oh, the thing, I forgot he can do that. He can embed a sword in a block of wood.
That's his superpower.
That's what he can do. That's what he's good at. He can throw a sword. It's one of the skills, and we're all like, oh shit.
Yeah.
So,
amazing.
And Jack is now alive, and he's like, shit. And then it all goes downhill. And then Governor Swan's like, oh, you're fucking faking it, asshole.
You
He's like,
bitch.
you son of a bitch. And so Will pulls up, ready to go after it. The executioner's got the axe and everything. Marines are being called. All this shit's going crazy. Jack's like, I'm just going to chill here. Please don't chop off my head as I stand on this sword. Guards are coming closer. Will, is blocking the sword left and right. He's disarmed, but the axe hits the rope because he shot wide, obviously. Knocks the rope loose. Jack falls, slips through.
And he's totally, like, in the safe zone.
Yeah, and so Will tackles the executioner onto Norrington, right, to distract him. Jack is like, oh, that's a sword I can cut my ropes with. So let me just do that real quick, and then boom, they're both free. Will does a fucking front flip.
That is a sick somersault, by the way.
He front flips.
A skill that we have never seen Will use before.
He was just like, yeah, let me just nat 20 this acrobatics check.
He's like a perfect, flawless somersault.
And Jack grabs the spare rope, tosses it to Will, and because they're like, oh, we've experienced combat before. We know how to work as a duo. It's supposed to be showing the completion of like their character development, how they're working as friends, right? And then boom, trips over 3 guards, or actually clotheslines them, and then trips over another 3 guards, and then they're just blocking, boom, 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 just shellacks those 2 guys. They're trying to make their way, out, punching guys, do a synchronized combat roll, like the whole 9 yards. Beautiful. It's supposed to be a big ta-da, triple R level of cohesion.
It's truly beautiful.
They're working as a unit, and it's cool to see. Like everybody, including Elizabeth, they're all working together to free Jack away from the Royal Navy. And they're doing all this, and then boom, boom, they're trying to get out of it. This guy tries to go here. They try to stab Will, and then Will's like, no, fuck no, but bam, bumps him, and then takes the sword, actually disarms the man completely. And then boom, they are now surrounded by several guns, and they're like, well, this did not go exactly as we had planned. Oh, shit, it's getting a little late. It's like 12:13. It's not bad. I've been trying to hold in a yawn this whole time. Nice. But they're like, whoa, this is a lot more than we were expecting. Holy shit, we, didn't know there was gonna be this many guns. Hot damn. And the feather gets in Jack's face. He's like, it's great comedic relief. It's fucking funny that that's what he cares about at the moment is the feather that's in the way of him, not the 13 plus guns that are facing him at the moment. Norrington comes up with the same sword that Will gave him. Will now has a sword that he has taken as his own as a fucking pirate, because that's what he does. And then Norrington says, I thought we might have to endure some manner of ill-conceived escape attempt, but not from you. Will, obviously. And then the governor is like, on our return to Port Royal, I granted you clemency, saying like, I let you go. You could have gone to jail for all the things that you did as a quote-unquote pirate, but I let you go. I decided, I gave you clemency. And he's like, and this is how you fucking repay me? He's like, this is how you thank me? By siding with a pirate? Throwing your lot in with him? He's a pirate. And then Will finally comes to the conclusion. He's like, he is a pirate, but also a good man.
Yeah.
Which is what his father was, which is what he kind of wants to be now. He's like, look, he's a pirate and he's a good man. And then I love this line. Let's see, he says, if all I have achieved here is that the hangman will earn 2 pairs of boots instead of 1, so be it. At least my conscience will be clear.
Yeah. Basically saying is like, if the hangman kills us both, we're basically saying, like, if both of us die today, I will die with no regrets.
Yeah, he's like, at least I tried to save this man.
Yeah.
This man that doesn't deserve to die. He's like, if all that I did here today is prevent or is cause both of us to die rather than Jack, it's worth it because he was worth saving.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's like, at least my conscience will be clear.
Yeah.
So good on him. So he's sticking to his guns. And then again, awesome sense of propriety. Norrington's like, you forgot your place, Turner. He's like, you don't know your place. You need a sense of propriety, which is what he had in the beginning. And then Will's like, you know what? Go fuck yourself, Norrington. He's like, my place is here between you and Jack. Such a good ending to his character development.
You forgot your place, Mr. Turner. It's like, you don't have a fucking place, you little limp dick Norrington bitch.
It's like, my place is right here in between you and Jack. The fuck you gonna do about it? He's like, I know my place. I know what my self-worth is. I know what I'm worth. I know what I can do. So bring it, Brittany. Like, it's Brittany, bitch. Like, he's fucking. It's a great completion to his arc. He's got a fucking sword at his neck, and he's like, bring it. My place is right here between you and Jack. Say something, bitch. Like, he's fucking ready to go. You know. He's ready to drop the N-word. He doesn't care.
Yeah, dude, he's so ready to call Mr. Norrington the N-word. Which I guess in this case would be just Norrington.
Yep, and then Elizabeth jumps in and she says, as is mine. She's like, I want to join in too. And Will's like, God dang it, you're ruining my thunder.
He's like, holy shit, bitch. Could you not let me have my own moment for a minute? Like that lazy-eyed, sad expression of just like, holy shit. Well, know your fucking place, bitch.
And Governor Swan,
which is behind me.
Yeah, and Governor Swan's like, lower your weapons, fucking put them down. You're pointing them at my daughter. Get those guns out. Like, get those guns down. Don't point those at my daughter or else I'm going to kill you. Right? So they all lower their firearms. And then, of course, Norrington is flabbergasted at this. He's like, so this is where your heart truly lies. With a blacksmith, with this beta male cuck. I see that you don't want to be with a man that has a sense of propriety.
I see you're not a Sigma male like the rest of us.
I see you don't have my gamma energy.
I fucking, like, I've said this before, but I would absolutely watch in theaters an origin story of Norrington.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's an extremely compelling character because he's very charismatic and he sticks to his guns. Like,
yeah. Is like, even if he's the antagonist, you understand what his goals are and what his priorities are,
and it has purpose.
And it has purpose, and that makes you root for him.
Yes, he's not a bad character. He's a good guy, and even if, and this is one of the reasons why I really liked Norrington, is at the end of the movie right here. So he's like, so this is where your heart truly lies. So he's saying, you know, this is who you truly love. It's not actually me.
Yeah,
you're using me so you could save your friends. He's like, so this is who you truly love. And she says, straight up, she says it is. And he's taking it back. He's like, well, fuck. What do I do now? And he's like, well, he looks sad. And so Jack is like, I guess this is a time for me to hop in because he noticed the bird. He's like, well, I've been feeling actually pretty good about this. It's like, we've all arrived at a very special place, spiritually, ecumenically.
Governor Swan is so disgusted to be within, like,
he's so close to him. He's like,
dude, personal space, please.
He's like, spiritually, ecumenically. It's like, fucking grammatically, sorry.
Grammatically. Yeah, he's just using words that he doesn't understand.
Exactly. And then he's like, I want you to know that I was rooting for you as the star of the show. I love that. Like, he's like, I want you to know that as far as everyone goes, I was rooting for you to win.
God, I need a cigarette after this fucking scene.
Right.
It's like, holy shit.
Jack, it's such a good supporting role because even though this is Will's story, Jack is like, let me just barge in here and tell you how I feel about everything.
What a Jack thing to do.
Absolutely. Straight up, like, look, he looks at Elizabeth, he's like, oh, Elizabeth.
What a fine ass. And smacks her on the ass.
Basically, because he's looking at her. I love it because you see he looks at her at the beginning with, like, these deering eyes. He's like, oh, I think we come to a very, very special place. He's like, I think we, have achieved great wonders. And then looks at Norrington. He's like, I was rooting for you. And he looks at Elizabeth. He's like, Elizabeth. Like trying to put on a suave face, like, it would never have worked between us, darling. Like, as if that was a fucking thing.
As if it was ever a possibility, ever.
And she's
just like,
she's
what
like,
the fuck are you talking about?
Exactly. She's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then he just continues. He's like, I'm sorry. It's fucking
so high off his own fumes.
He's so full of himself. I fucking love it. I love everything about it. And he just continues. He's like, I'm sorry. And then he walks his way out.
And she's just like
a drama queen.
All right, whatever.
And then he's like, Will, the person who he's had most contact with, spent most of the time with, saved on multiple occurrences, has been saved by him on multiple occurrences, has the most depth, right?
Has been betrayed as equally as he has been saved by this guy.
Yeah, so much character depth, right, with Will. And he's like, Will, my one friend, nice hat.
Yeah.
Fucking A.
What a payoff! This is the payoff.
The guy that I've journeyed this entire movie with to support you to become the person you're meant to be. Hey, Will, nice hat. What the fuck? It's fantastic.
What else is there to say other than nice hat?
Yeah, it's like, what else is there to say? You have a nice hat. And then Will just looks up and he's like, oh yeah, it is nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like, it is a nice hat, isn't it?
It is a nice hat.
I'm glad you acknowledged that because no one else did.
Yep. And he's like, friends. He's like, oh shit, this is still dangerous. He's like, this is the day that you will always remember as the day that trip. Obviously.
Oh,
yeah.
God!
Obviously a callback to when he was saying that this is the day you remember that you almost caught Captain Jack Sparrow. But he doesn't even finish the line before he trips over the fucking ledge.
Hilarious.
Obviously on purpose. But it's a good callback to the beginning where he's like, this is the day, making it big. And it's like, oh shit,
Did you think, that's a sword, that's a bayonet, that's a bayonet, that's a bayonet.
Yeah,
blah,
yeah,
blah, blah, blah.
everything. Yeah.
Like, there's like 6 bayonets in this shot alone.
Yeah, and so they point out, boom, it just lands in the water. And then he's like, idiot, he's nowhere to go but back to the noose. And Jack comes back up, and then sail ho.
Ugh.
Jack looks over. They decided, hang the fucking code. We're going to go back, and we're going to save our chap, Jack Sparrow. We're going to save our captain.
Why the hell not?
Why the hell not? And Jack's like, hell yeah, I knew they would come for me. And so Gillette is like, what's your plan of action, sir? He's like, what we plan on doing?
Fuck it.
Norrington has a lot going on in his mind right now.
Yeah.
He's like, this guy just miraculously escaped the noose that I had hanging for him.
My fiance is no longer
my fiance is no longer with me. Jack stopped one of the greatest evils known as the Black Pearl. Am I supposed to continue with him or continue hunting him down, even though he just did all these heroic acts and I wasn't even sure I wanted to kill him in the first place?
Yeah.
Right? He has a lot of conflicting emotions. And so Governor Swan decides to act with some
sense of propriety.
Yeah. with some older, I guess, wisdom. Mm-hmm. And he looks at me and says, perhaps on the rare occasion of pursuing the right course. Let's see, pursuing the right course demands an act of piracy. Piracy itself can be the right course. So he's basically saying, he's like, in order to pursue, evil, sometimes you have to do, things not necessarily by the book.
It's very much like that old saying. It's like, if one decides to hunt monsters, they must themselves become like monsters themselves.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the idea. And so Norrington's like, fair point. I hear you. And I like this line. He looks at Mr. Turner because he's like, okay, if this is the way this is going to go, we need to set some fucking ground rules, right?
Yeah.
He looks at Mr. Turner, and Will's like,
first of all, Elizabeth, those titties are fine.
Elizabeth's like, no, you're going to be hanged because he's Norrington and he's by the book. And Will looks at her and he's like, I saved Jack. I will accept the consequences of my actions. This man is willing to fucking die for his mate. Like, what about...
Can you believe that this movie is like 20 years old at this point?
Yeah, it's fucking insane. It's insane. God, I feel old.
I would still fuck all of these characters.
Oh, absolutely. But it's so cool to see that Will went from like fucking hating Jack. He's like, cause you're a fucking pirate. To here, he's like, I saved your ass, and I will suffer the consequences, even if that means being hanged. Like he's so honorable in that sense, where he's like, I saved you because it was the right thing to do, and I'm willing to die on this hill for it.
He's like, fuck the law. This is morally what's good because I know a good person when I meet them.
Exactly. You know,
Keira Knightley, hit us up if you want to get dicks down.
Hit Riley up in particular.
Me in particular.
I love this line though. So Norrington looks at Will Turner, who made this sword for him. Call back to the very beginning. Beautiful sword. You know, blade is nearly full width of the tang, or as far as weight goes, it's really close to the hilt, which is where you want it for a saber like this.
Yeah.
Very great sword. Very well designed. Very well made. Norrington says, this is a beautiful sword. Basically admiring, like saying, looking at Will for the first time, taking this sword and looking at Will saying, I know you made this.
Yeah.
This is a great piece of art. You've done it. Because before in the very beginning, it was acknowledging the blacksmith master.
The master.
Yeah. You know, please
that
tell your
fat fuck.
Please tell please give your master my regards. At this point, he's like, this is a beautiful sword, and he's looking at Will, acknowledging like, I know you made this. I recognize you as a master of this art. And then he says, a wonderful line. He goes, he says, I would expect any man who made it to show the same care and devotion in every aspect of his life. Saying, look, I get it. Elizabeth doesn't want this. I don't know why, but she doesn't want this. So, you obviously are very good at making weapons. Apply this to every part of your life, including a woman. What's up?
Heard a voice. Yes, love?
We good?
Yelling for Jeremy.
Oh.
And never mind. I just heard your voice and I heard it yelling.
We're good. So he's the cool thing in this scene is that he's acknowledging Will's talents and saying, "Hey, look, you provided a lot of dedication and interest in making the sword what it is today." Yeah. Recognizing his talents, he says, "I expect you to apply this to every aspect of your life." Basically saying, if you're going to take Elizabeth's hand, I want you to treat as much devotion to her as you do to this sword.
Yeah.
Basically saying, if you're going to be with her, respect her like I would. Treat her how I would want to treat her.
So that kind of opens up the question of like, is Norrington the cuck or is Will in this situation?
Honestly, I don't think either of them are cucks because Will,
because Norrington cucks cancel each other out.
Well, because Will obviously is going to be the one getting laid, but Norrington at the same time is accepting a rejection. He's like, I understand that she's not interested in me, so I'm going to hold you accountable to make sure that you look after her.
You know what? Fair.
So
it's like two cucks cancel each other out.
Sure. Yeah. We'll look at it that way. And Will is like, I can respect that. And so he says, thank you. Very nice. Very sweet. Norrington fucks off. And then Gillette again is like, Commodore, what about fucking Sparrow? And
what the fuck about Sparrow, Gillette?
What the fuck about Sparrow? Okay, we'll get him on a Tuesday. I don't know. Take a day off, Jesus Christ.
If he slips up, we'll catch him, but holy shit.
Get him in range of the long nines. and he's learned a little bit. He's like, you know, We can afford to give him 1 day's head start. Just like fucking what?
He's like, guys, let's just take a day off.
Yeah. And
Holy
so,
shit.
Governor Swan is like, looks at Elizabeth. He's like, so this is the path you've chosen, saying, so you want to be with this guy and not Norrington. Basically admitting, like, he's like, okay, so this is the decision you wanted to make all along.
Yeah.
So this is going to be the right decision. And she's like, yeah. And he says, after all, he is a blacksmith. He's basically saying, like, look, he doesn't necessarily have that sense of propriety.
Rough hands.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, he doesn't necessarily have that sense of propriety. And he doesn't have all that going for him, but he does have those hard, rough hands that coerce my bosom. And she's like, no. Takes off the beautiful hat. And
that is a really nice hat, though.
He's not a blacksmith. He's a pirate. Thus romanticizing pirates and making it a terrible thing for our culture. No.
Guys, let me tell you. Let me bring this mic really stretched out and towards my face. Let me tell you, pirates were fucking terrible people.
Oh yeah.
They relied on brutality and intimidation almost alone. Like if there was ever a moment where Jack Sparrow was in fight with another pirate, he would be down in a second because the pirate would shoot him in the fucking stomach, hack off his fucking like thorax and throat, tie his intestines towards like the bow of the ship and throw him off board. Cause like that's what pirates are all about.
Hello. Okay. This is going to romanticize pirates in this circumstance. Not necessarily a bad thing. I can understand. Basically, a pirate is an outlaw. It's the wild man. It's the man who wants to basically go against what he would seem to be tyranny and heavy order or oppressive order, as it were. So I can understand the idea that they're playing on, but pirates in reality were not necessarily the best people.
No, it's like
I can understand both.
It's that like thing that I brought up before. It's like the code of pirates set by Bartholomew.
Yeah.
Where it's like it's an entire fucking like scholastic textbook.
Yeah.
Where it's just like I don't imagine the code of pirates to be that thick.
No, not
it would be like a page long. Tops.
If that, yeah. And so the music, and not only that, but like
it would be like
fucking.
It would be like the 8 rules of Fight Club.
Yeah, no joke. Which we'll have to cover one day.
One of these days, yes.
Let me write something real quick. Let's see, composer. So I always thought it was interesting. So Klaus Badelt is credited for Pirates of the Caribbean composer and conductor for Curse of the Black Pearl, because she's like, he's a pirate, and then the music fucking swarms and just spits absolute fire.
Yeah.
Like the motif for them is just like boom, the music kicks in. It's just like it's just
God, that is a deep kiss.
It's fantastic. Like
that man has no sense of propriety.
Yeah,
that man is a slut.
They go absolute hog wild on that freaking motif. Yeah, he looks back and he's like, oh, okay, I guess I'm gonna leave now.
Now that I've achieved erection, I'm going to leave.
So they throw Jack a line, and Jack's like, I got it. They heave, and I like how the dwarf is he doesn't even have his hands on the ground. He's just holding the fucking rope. Yeah, it's very fun. They heave Jack up way up fast, and then boom, crashes down to the boat of the ship. And then Jack looks at me. He's like, I thought you were supposed to keep to the code. He's like, what the fuck you doing here, man? Coming to save my ass. It's like, I had it totally under control.
Yeah.
And Gibbs says, we figured they were more actual guidelines. Obviously, of course, call back to the very beginning with Barbossa, where they're adapting a little bit of the, okay, we're going to kind of play with the codes a little bit. We're going to kind of create our own moral structure for our ship,
Yeah.
and hang the code in these circumstances. Which, by the way, later on, they don't do, which I think is stupid. It kills all of the energy of this first movie.
It's like I said, they only planned for the series to go as far as this movie alone.
I think it should have only gone this far.
Yeah, because every movie past this point has sort of like steadily over the course declined.
Yes.
In quality and writing and acting and all of that. Where it's like, by the time you get to like, I don't know, like Dead Men Tell No Tales, you're just like, God. What the fuck is this movie at all?
It's soulless.
It's completely soulless. It's just
terrible.
like total corporate Disney.
Yeah.
There's no heart, there's no love put into this movie, there's no thought.
No.
There's no meaningfulness.
So they hoist Jack up, his batshit crazy crew and all. He has his old hat, and she is even still here, and she says, Captain Sparrow. Yeah.
There she is.
She gives him the fucking coat, and she says, the Black Pearl is yours.
The coat, the tricorn hat, he is captain.
He is captain again. Finally, a true Captain Jack Sparrow. And I love this. He pets the fucking not the sail, but the wheel, and he's just like, I've missed you, that kind of.
Where is Jezebel when we need her?
Yeah, and he's looking around and he's like, oh wait, y'all guys aren't supposed to be seeing this sensual part of me.
Yeah,
it's like,
I've never loved a woman as much as I love this ship.
Yeah, and so he's looking around. And he's like, on deck, you scabrous dogs, hands to braces. He's like, do something. Let me spend some time with my girl.
Let me fucking just unzip his pants.
Yeah,
it's like.
And I love this scene. He's like, let's let go haul and run free. And then I love this. He says, now, bring me that horizon. So good, because it's like the whole thing with pirates is achieving and gaining and sometimes thievery. It's like, bring me that which I want. Obviously, that's what pirates do.
Yeah,
they go and they take. And he says, bring me that horizon. So he's like, I want to take that opportunity which lays before me.
Yes.
Because the thing about Jack in this movie is he always has a goal, and that's what he's focused around. Mm-hmm. So it's like, what do you do once you achieve your goal? He's like, I want to seize the opportunities that are before me.
Yes.
That's why this movie leaves it ambiguous. We don't know what Jack's plan is, but we assume he has a plan.
That's... what's hilarious about this whole situation is that, Jack this whole time, you're kind of seen as, this wild card of a character, whereas, he kind of takes whatever he only has one goal, which is to get back the Black Pearl. Goal he has at the moment, he'll take whatever side he wants.
Yeah.
It just so happens that he kind of takes the mortally good standard to get the Black Pearl. Because, he could have easily gone the villainous route.
Could have.
To get the Black Pearl.
He at least has some moral compass.
He could have sided with Barbossa. He could have sided with the Black Pearl to be like, hey, just make me your captain, your second in command. I'll command the Black Pearl, I'll have it, and your skeleton crew of undead will be mine to command.
Yeah.
And that would have achieved his goal all the same. But Jack does, in a sense, have a sense of propriety.
Gonna bring that to the very fucking end of this movie.
Sense of propriety is the new big dick energy.
Yep.
That's what it's all about, baby.
Yep.
So me and Jeremy have a sense of propriety. We have a moral code and a standing among our society. Mm-hmm. And that is what separates us from outlaws and pirates. Mm-hmm. That's what makes us human.
Yep.
That's my entire point.
Okay. And so I just appreciate the idea for Jack in this scene being kind of open ended, where we're like, we always assume Jack has a plan and has a goal, and at the very end they're like, you would think, well, what's Jack's goal? What's he going to do now that he has a ship? And it's like his goal is to seize the opportunities that are laid before him. What opportunities those are, we don't know. It's meant to be ambiguous because we're not supposed to know, because it's the end of the fucking movie.
That's the thing.
It's like, the end of this arc. It's the end of this story.
That's the thing, is like, this person always has a plan. How far is that plan? 15 seconds.
Yeah.
So it's like, if a person has a plan that only goes as far as like the next step, how is that any different from a guy who's just winging it the whole time?
Right. Well, we don't know what his future, what he hasn't planned. It's like, maybe getting the Black Pearl was supposed to lead to something else. We don't know. We just know that this is a part of his big picture. You can tell by his eyes in the scene, he has a plan. He has a goal that he wants to set. Yeah. That he wants to do. He has something that he's itching to chase, right?
Yeah.
Like in the very beginning where he's like, we're catching up, that whole thing. He's like, he's itching to catch this thing.
Yeah. And
so I just love this scene because it's like, bring me that horizon. Let me take the opportunities that are before me, Mm-hmm. It's an interesting idea, and it's a great way to phrase it in this movie. Because that's a pirate. That's what you do. You take things that are in front of you.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, let me take the opportunities that are there. I think it's awesome for potential for this character. It's a perfect setup, right? And then of course, it's like, bring me that horizon. And then he goes, da 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 da, which is the melody for the beginning of the Pirates theme, which was done at the very fucking beginning of the movie. It brings it all back around to the very end of the movie. And of course, he looks up, or he looks at his compass, which points to what he wants most. He says, and really bad eggs, which again is a line from that pirate,
that musical
from the course, again from the beginning, and also from what created this movie, which was the ride.
The Disney World or Disneyland ride, Pirates of the Caribbean, is like that theme song where it's all puppeteers and
drink up, me hearties, yo ho, all that sort of stuff. It's like in really bad eggs, and then of course, changes course, drink up, me hearties, yo ho, closes it, boom, and that is it. We have finally fucking done it. We have finished
the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie.
Oh my god.
No other Pirates of the Caribbean movie will get this much attention or like reverence from us.
No, not at all. The other Pirates movies do not stand nearly as well as this movie does.
Shake my hand, brother.
This has been a journey, sir.
This has been
I have been dying to go over this movie
a hero's journey.
Oh man. It's been an absolute pleasure to break down this movie with you. It's something I've been wanting to do for a long time. I wanted this to be the first movie because I thought it'd be pretty easy to get through. It still took us 6, I think, episodes to get through it. Damn.
2 hours long.
Each 2 hours long,
So like 12 hours of just analyzing each piece and motive of this movie.
Yes, it's been incredibly fun. It's something I've deeply enjoyed, and I want to do more of in other places. I know we have more that we need to talk about, other popular culture that's been coming out recently. With Puss in Boots and Avatar 2. I haven't watched Avatar 2, but I've watched Puss in Boots, and I really fucking liked it.
You have been advertising the hell out of Puss in Boots to me.
It's wonderful.
Is it that good?
I'm not gonna upsell it like as something that is. I'm not gonna say it's a 10 out of 10. It's not a 10 out of 10. It's like a good 7 or 8 out of 10. Okay.
What are its highlights?
Its highlights. So
for one thing, storytelling, character building, action.
Okay, so we'll just cover on this briefly because I want to still keep this Pirates themed. But the big thing that I like about Puss in Boots is, one, it does a great balance of childlike humor, with adult like deep meanings. It has a lot of deep meanings that it covers and how to handle those, like the ideas of death and what that means and what your legacy is, you know, in life. So it handles these deep ideas, but also has a couple of slapstick humor. It doesn't have any messaging behind it. It doesn't have any like sort of political drama that is trying to shove down your throat, like, you know, in other movies where they're trying to give you some sort of political message. It doesn't have any sort of real political message. It's just trying to tell a good story.
Yeah.
And then 3, the big thing for me, well, for one thing, I'll just cover this real quick. Its animation is glorious. It's a very good animation.
Very
you know,
nice,
which is good. And then finally, it's a fucking funny ass movie. It is really funny.
So the humor is good. The animation is good.
Yes.
And the
story has some deep ideas that it covers fairly well. And the character for Death. There's a character for Death. I love this character. I love their interpretation of death. Because I was looking at Shay in the theater. I was like, if I was 9 or younger when watching this movie, I would have been scared of this character. Yeah. Legitimately. He was actually scary.
Yeah.
Like, it was cool. It was cool to see, but I really appreciate it. Anyway, so I want to watch that, and we'll cover that sometime among other popular culture. But yeah, so with Pirates, let us know if y'all guys like this stuff, and if you want us to cover other films. Something I've been interested in doing, and it's cool to see this come to a close. This deep dive into Pirates of the Caribbean. I've really enjoyed it. I'd like to deep dive into other movies as well, including like Matrix and Fight Club and other like legacy titles, and see really what makes them tick and what is so cool about each of the pieces of the puzzle. You know, it's something I really enjoy. But
like, we don't come at these movies as just fans of these movies, but as fans of cinema.
Yeah.
It's like each camera angle and each shot within the movies speaks something. Because directors and producers, they don't allow anything within a movie unless it has a purpose.
Right.
And me and Jeremy kind of follow that formula. Like, everything that we put within our videos is important.
Right.
So, including that burp. That burp was really fucking important.
Definitely.
So, please let us know what movies you guys want to watch along with us, and we will break them down. We will dissect them. We will sort of bring out the best and put down the worst of that movie, and we'll just have a good time with it because we just love talking about cinema. That's our great passion.
That's what we like to get together on weekends and do. We like to talk about cinema. We like to play, honestly, D&D and Halo and a couple of other things, but other than that, we really like watching movies and watching things together and talking about what we find interesting about them. I mean, that's how we first met, was in film class. Like, we like talking about film. It's what we enjoy doing together.
If there's one thing that you can say about this channel, is that it has no formula.
Yeah.
There's no goal.
It's off the fucking wall.
There's no goal or end game of this channel. It's just two guys being best friends and talking about shit that they like.
That's definitely,
and that's that's refreshing.
Yeah,
in a way. Mm-hmm. Of it's you see all these channels just doing things that will gain.
Fake.
They feel fake. They feel vain and surface level and superficial. Of this is an algorithmic thing that will get a lot of views, and you and I are just we enjoy hanging out together.
And there are so many things that have come out recently that we could obviously cover and keep relevant to the new stuff and all this sort of thing, but I'm
just don't interest us.
I'm like let's just, you know what, no, we're gonna keep talking about Pirates because that's what we're doing, and then maybe if we want to cover other things, we will when we have the time. But let's accomplish one thing first before we jump on to something else.
We easily could have covered the second Avatar movie.
Easily.
So it would have been so easy, but we didn't because it wasn't interesting enough.
It didn't have our draw. I mean,
we weren't that interested in the first one, so we weren't that interested in watching the second one.
Yeah.
Basically, that's just kind of how
and,
it goes.
And there wasn't any comments or anything in demand for it, so we were like, well, there's no demand for us to go see this, so we're just not going to do it.
Yeah, it's like, would following trends help our like channel algorithmically?
Sure.
Maybe, but that's just kind of not what we are.
Yeah.
We just really like to talk about shit that we like or dislike deeply.
Yes. But this is an end for a beautiful era, and I'm excited for the next stuff. So with that, we'll end it here. Thank y'all guys so much for watching. We'll see y'all guys in the next one. I don't know what we're gonna be doing after this, but I'll figure it out next week. So we'll see y'all later. Bye.
I love you.